Good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Well, maybe it's about to be a little less happy because we're going back into Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 5. And it looks like the plot's really picking up, and so is the horror aspects of the game. But this should be definitely an intriguing time. How's everybody doing tonight? Hello, Shirley. Hello, Proxima. Welcome, welcome. Great to see you both. You think Satoshi is dead? Possibly. He may have even run away. He may have been kidnapped somewhere. I'm not sure. But, well, I guess we'll have to figure that out. You finished Silk Salt of 100%! Hey! Congratulations, Proxima. Very exciting. And I'm sure that was no mean feat, so very well done indeed. Alright. Let's get going with Higurashi. Oh, also, today was the day that I first became aware of the masterpiece that is Dancing Mad from Final Fantasy VI. I heard it for the first time, so if I start humming it a bit during tonight, you know why. My gosh, that is such a good song. You think you missed a stream? So last time we ended, we had a very, very intense scene where Shion had to, like, tear 3 of her fingernails out. And then we got news from Uisi that Satoshi has disappeared, essentially. And they're like, we may have had somebody see him go to Tokyo, but we don't know for sure. But, like, they said he looked like him. But we don't actually know, and now Shion's kind of freaking out. So, you know, same old, same old. Alright, so we're continuing tonight. End of Chapter 7. So we'll see if we can get to the end of Chapter 10 tonight. No promises, though. Anyhow, let's continue on. Gotta move my mouse. Boop, boop, boop.
Eh?
All right. the good old headlight.
今、なんて?
信頼できる筋の噂ですが、サトシ君のおば殺しの犯人が見つかったらしいです。
Wait, it wasn't Satoshi, or did they find him? It had been a few weeks since the murder. Satoshi-kun still hadn't been found. I had no new information on his whereabouts. Kasai's report came, as a result, completely out of the blue.
それって、警察が逮捕したって意味?
Ooh. You miss K1? You mean Keiichi? I miss Keiichi as well. Hey, X-Dude, welcome to the stream. Great to see ya.
聞いた話では、逮捕というより、別件で取り調べを受けていた男が余罪として自供したんだとか。
Oh, really? That sounded strange. If it was Satoshi-kun they arrested, he wouldn't have worded it that way. It sounded as though Satoshi-kun wasn't the culprit.
葛西、結局、犯人って誰だったの?
It was the teddy bear. So it wasn't Satoshi-kun? I swallowed those final words. I was convinced that it was Satoshi-kun. The police and Uisi must have thought the same way. The reason Uisi approached me was because he was convinced that Satoshi-kun did it.
ご安心を。
Don't worry about it.
サトシ君ではないようですよ。連続開始事件を模倣した異常者の犯行。
Oh,
と
just
いうよう
one?
な話みたいです。
Who was it?
はい? 異常者? 何それ?
Kasai shrugged.
さあ、何しろ今回の事件は秘匿捜査指定というものがかかっているんだそうです。なので、ほとんど情報が出回らないんです。
Okay.
秘匿捜査? 何それ?
連続開始事件による村への風評被害対策ということらしいです。
You smell forced involvement. Yeah, this stinks. This feels like he did it just to accept a plea bargain or something.
誘拐事件なんかでも犯人との交渉が行われている間は新聞に載らなかったりするでしょ。ああいう類のものらしいです。
Come to think of it, I hadn't seen anything about the aunt's murder on TV or in the newspaper.
何しろ4年連続で綿流しの日に事件が起こっているわけですからね。お社様のたたりだと騒いで面白がる輩も多いそうですし。そうそう、何でもそのおば殺しの異常者ですが、連続開始事件を模倣したくて行ったと自供したんだとか。
Kasai didn't know anything else, so instead of probing him further, I reviewed the information myself. I was really shocked to learn all of this. I was convinced that Satoshi-kun killed her. I thought that was the reason he had to disappear. But it was actually some lunatic who killed her and he had no relation to the aunt whatsoever. Well, we know this is bunk. Because that's not what they said happened in the present time, right? So, Satoshi-kun had nothing to do with the murder? If so, why did he disappear? I couldn't accept that this lunatic had killed the aunt. And what's really strange is the phrase Kasai used 4 years in a row now. After all, I'd been thinking that this murder happened because Satoshi-kun had been in a dire situation, and that it had nothing to do with the series of mysterious deaths. It's too coincidental from the sensei's elephant in the room coincidence. What? I have no idea what that means. Phone just said sensei and not Shion? Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about, Shirley. It felt as though Satoshi-kun's case had become somebody else's. The series of mysterious deaths at Hinamizawa is also known as the Curse of Oyashiro-sama. Satoshi-kun's case had become one of those mysterious deaths. In other words, Satoshi-kun's case had become a part of Oyashiro-sama's curse. I didn't like the way that sounded, because it was as though the curse had swallowed Satoshi-kun. Yeah, and she already is like, I kind of fear the curse, because she, like, technically left Hinamizawa. Oh, hey, bro. How's it going? Good to see you, Uisi.
例の東京行きの新幹線に乗ったらしいという情報も確認が取れないままです。正直なところ、県の中にいるのか外にいるのか、それすらも分かっちゃいません。
Uisi broke the seal on a new can of instant coffee.
あれだけ胸を張ってサトシ君が犯人だと息巻いていたから、もう行方を掴んでるとばかり思ってました。
Yeah, that is a very big coincidence that just some random guy was like, hey, I want to imitate the curse in this weird small town. But then again, what do you expect from a guy named Loon Atik? At least I didn't think my joke was very funny.
いやいや、情けない限りです。
Luisi chuckled and poured a cup of coffee, which looked far too hot.
しかし、耳が早いな。
はい？
一口操作してだってのに、どこの誰が漏らしてるやら。
Suspicious.
やれやれ。うちの傍聴も問題があるな。
Luisi smirked. It seems he knew why I was here today.
まあ、腐っても園崎の端くれですので、多少の噂は耳にできますということで。
I smirked back at him. It's all about bluffing.
まあいいか。腹を割り合った仲ですしね。いいですよ。おしゃべりしましょう。
まず聞かせてく
We
だ
are
さい。
kind of becoming buds with Uisi.
真犯人って一体何者です？
That's confidential.
異常者とか聞きましたけど、それってどういうことですか？
It was Loon Atik.
どういうことって言われたってね。そりゃ私だって言いたいですよ。私はサトシ君が犯人の一点読みでしたから、ね。
Shion, don't say me too.
とんだ万馬券が飛び出したもんです。
Uisi threw himself on the sofa and crossed his hands behind his head. He looked up at the ceiling and smiled wryly.
先日ですね、県警の方から急に連絡が来たんですよ。すでに逮捕して取り調べをしている男が主婦殺しを自供したって。
One of the guys in detention, was he already in detention on Watanagashi? Or is it like he went on like a crime spree and they're like, yeah, we got you, and he's like, okay, I killed the housewife. They're like, that's not what we arrested you for. Why would you do that?
それは何者？
薬に手を出したとんでもない野郎でしてね。
Uh-oh.
出所しては捕まるの繰り返しだそうです。
Oh no, it's Walter White!
ひなみ沢村連続開始事件が面白そうだったんで、4年目のたたりは自分が下してみたくなった。
Oh no.
どうかなんとか。
He decided to break bad and steal the money that, like, Satoko's parents left them, but he couldn't find it. So he just broke bad for no reason.
間違いなくそいつが
But
犯
guys,
人。
he totally did it for the family.
私が直接話を聞いたわけじゃないんですがね。
Also, I've never seen Breaking Bad.
先方が取った供述調書には、いわゆる犯人しか知り得ない情報ってやつががっつりと含まれていたんですよ。凶器を王子川のどこかで捨てたって言ってましてね。今はドブさらいの最中ですよ。
Ooh.
これで供述通りに凶器が発見されれば完璧でしょうな。
たとえ凶器が見つからなくても、おおむね確定。
確定でしょうな。現場の状況と仏の状況を正確に供述してい
Yeah,
る
this is totally a setup.
襲った本人にしかわからないような細かいあたりまでね。
納得はいってないみたいですね。
Uisi, still looking up at the ceiling, went quiet.
実はね、その大バカだれ、
Ooh. This is a new song.
とっくに亡くなってるんですよ。うちに連絡があ
What?
った時にはすでに。
Wait, the lunatic is dead?
亡くなってる？
給食とかに出てくるでしょ。
You mean a
先割れスプ
spork?
ーン。留置場の食事にもあれが出てく
Aren't
る
they
んですよ。
plastic though?
そいつを飲み込んで窒息したんだとか、
What?
自殺なのか錯乱なのか、ちょっと区別がつかないですがね。
I imagine somebody swallowing that spoon and gagged.
だから十分に納得するまで調べられたわけじゃありません。私は納得できないんですがね。上の方は十分に納得しちゃったようでした。
Yeah, that makes sense. The superiors are just like, well, he confessed, so why would he lie about that? Like, open and shut case, and Uisi's like, no way, man, there's some more going on, because he's been studying the cases since they started.
どうもその愉快犯が主婦殺しの犯人ってことで決着しそうな流れです。
I wonder if, did the guy in question have reptile eyes? Uisi turned his eyes from the ceiling to me. He looked serious. No, he didn't. He has the same dopey grin on his face that he always does.
他の誰にも内緒ということで。
It's very kind of you to have your own personal theories sharing with this random, like, teenage girl who might be related to the crimes.
私はこの大バカたりは何かの間違いだと思ってます。
Yeah, this is way too perfect.
何かの偶然による壮大な勘違いか、もしくは、ねえ。
全然意味わかんないですよ、大石のおじさま。
Someone's silencing him.
私は今でも犯人は北条聡君だと思っています。
きっぱり言い切りますね。
残念ながら現場検証では犯人を特定できるような痕跡は何一つ発見できませんでした。聡君が失踪した後、家宅捜索の許可が下りましてね、家を改めさせてももらいましたが、
それでもサトシ君が犯人だと疑ってる。
ねえ。
Also, I cannot imagine going through this story without the voice acting. Because I want to remind you guys, the Steam version normally does not have voice acting. I installed mods to add the console voice acting into this. And man, like, it's so much better with it.
証拠もないのに、どうやったらそこまで人を殺人犯呼ばわりできるのやら。大したもんです。長年の勘ってやつですか？
ええ。この道で何十年も飯を食ってきた男の直感です。
Uisi smiled in satisfaction, but I didn't feel relieved.
サトシ君はどこへ？
サトシ君が失踪した理由の一つこそが彼が犯人であるからだと固く信じていたんです。サトシ君が犯人でないならそのあたりがかなり薄れちゃいますからね。
Fair enough.
おば殺しの犯人はその愉快犯で、サトシ君の失踪とは無関係。
Then you have to ask why he disappeared.
サトシ君失踪は私とサトシ君の仲を裂くために園崎本家がやったもの。おば殺しとは無関係という考え方は？
You wish Higurashi was a regular paperback novel? I'm sure there's a manga of it. Although, that would probably have pictures. If you just want the text, maybe good luck with that. Hey, Ruben, welcome to the stream. Great to see you. It was easier to look back at past bits. I don't know. This way, you wouldn't have to deal with the intense voice acting and visuals, potentially. Was Satoshi-kun a culprit or a victim? The reason for his disappearance had become unclear. Personally, I think Higurashi works very well in the visual novel media, and I feel like you would lose stuff if it was in a paper book form. Like the really intense conversation you have with Rena in Chapter 1, when like she first gets the reptile eyes, I don't think that would hit quite as hard in book format.
私は旧敵との恋仲程度で 人一人を失踪させるなんてリスクを冒すとは思わないんですがね。実際園崎家の内部としてはどうなんです？シオンさんはそのあたり何かご存知？
How much are we gonna reveal?
知っていたらこんなとこに来ません。
ごもっともごもっとも。
Uisi laughed out loud while scratching his head. And after he stopped laughing, he leaned over.
よーし。なら一つどうです
I
か？
like Uisi, man. He's one of my favorite characters.
協定を結びません
He's
か？
he's a bit of a lech. He's a bit of a corrupt cop at times, but it seems like he's a guy who's trying to actually put an end to like all of it and figure out the truth. So, and he's I like his like faux laid back personality.
紳士協定。
A gentleman's deal. Oh boy.
協定？何のです？
サトシ君失踪事件捜査情報共有協定。裏の界隈でサトシ君の失踪に関する情報を得られたら、もちろん私もサトシ君についての情報が入ったらあなたに提供します。いかがです？
なんだか一方的な虫のいい話に思えますけど。
Uisi chuckled.
シオンさん、このまま行くと主婦殺しの犯人はすでに死んでるその大バカタレってことで確定すると思います。そうなるとサトシ君の扱いは単なる家出人になります。つまり積極的な捜査は打ち切られるということです。
True.
ですが私だけは続けます。私だけはサトシ君の行方を引き続き探します。シオンさんも私もサトシ君の行方を探しているという点では一致してると思うんですがね。
目的が全然違いますがね。私は単に無事を確認したいだけです。大石のおじさまにとっては逮捕が目的でしょうから。
主婦殺しが決着すればサトシ君は無実ってことになりますよ。
That's also true.
真実はどうかは別にしてもね。
怪しいもんです。
Uh-oh. Oh, he's got a suspicious look. Uisi chuckled again, but his smile didn't reach his eyes.
まあ今後も仲良くやりましょう。敵の敵は味方とも言いますしね。
別に私、園崎本家と敵対しているわけじゃありませんよ。
なあ、本当に？ならそりゃ失礼。
This is just the way of Corrado Uisi, huh? As Sis and Kasai said, I wouldn't want him to be as my enemy or my ally, because both would be too risky. I probably shouldn't let my guard down in front of this big fat weasel. I sipped on the coffee to fill up the silence, though I wasn't thirsty. Outside the window, I could see normal life taking its course. But Satoshi-kun wasn't there. He should have been there, but he wasn't. I was scared that I might grow used to his absence someday. Where was he? Yeah, I wouldn't want you to be independent.
サトシ君はどうしてるんだろう。
無事だといいんですがね。
チェ、生きてる可能性は薄いとか思っているくせに気休め言わないでほしいです。
サトシ君の失踪、ひなみ沢じゃ何て言われてるか知ってます？
Being demoned away.
え？
鬼隠しにあった、
Yep.
なんて言われてるんだとか。
Boom. To be demoned away means the same thing as being spirited away. It's part of the local dialect.
鬼が淵沼の底の鬼の国にさらわれたって？バカバカしい。
とにもかくにも連続開始事件もこれで4年目です。
Yeah, the fat weasel, he's again, he likes Hooters a little too much, and he definitely was like, hey, how about you give me some of the taxpayer money to help me cooperate with you, but in Chapter 4. So he's a bit of a lech, but I like him. He's competent.
気の早い話ですがね、来年もまた起こるんじゃないかなんてもうささやかれてるんだとか。
大場殺しがお社様のたたりのせいだって言うんですか？
全体的に見てみれば仏も北条家の一人。ダム戦争の戦犯と縁がないわけじゃないですからね。しかもまたしても綿流しの日にとなれば面白がる連中が現れるのも無理もないことです。
バカバカしい。 何がお社様のたたりだ。
Though I said that, I couldn't quite wipe away the fear from my mind. Why did Satoshi-kun disappear? Was it the Sonozaki family? Did he run away from the police? Did he really kill his aunt in the first place? Why did he even disappear? He's on his own. Oyashiro-sama's curse had nothing to do with it. But... That's strange. Satoshi-kun and Oyashiro-sama's curse. Somebody once mentioned those two together before. Rena. When did I hear that? Oh, that's right. That rainy day. It was Rena Ryugu who told me that when we were taking shelter in that shack. I remembered the creepy story she told me at the time.
サトシ君は心のどこかでひなみ沢を捨ててどこかへ逃げ出したいと思ってるから。
That's what Rena Ryugu said. Rena had definitely pointed out that Satoshi-kun wanted to leave Hinamizawa at that time. She also said,
サトシ君が体験していることはすべてお社様のたたりの前触れなの。
She said that, for sure. She had definitely mentioned Oyashiro-sama's curse. The series of mysterious deaths has struck 4 times. Was Satoshi-kun being controlled by the curse? Is that why he killed his aunt and was demoned away? No way. That can't be true. Satoshi-kun's smile faded away in my mind. Satoshi-kun disappeared. Not only that, the reason for his disappearance also disappeared. It must have been done by human beings. I can't accept that he was demoned away. Notebook page 43. We should tell Luisi about our conversation with Rena. It might give him a lead. You're genuinely sticking by Satoshi doing the Keiichi thing in Chapter 1 when he scratched his throat. Oh, when Keiichi went into the phone booth to call Luisi and then just tore his throat out. We never really got an explanation as to why he did that, other than that he was just going crazy. But we never really got the explanation of why he was going crazy. I moved from one chair to another because the air conditioning was too cold. I moved with my notebook, my pen case with a bunch of keychains, and my cup of milk tea. I did it all in one go. I sat down in a new chair, then opened my notebook again. I scribbled my thoughts and sank into silence. The series of mysterious deaths, dubbed the Curse of Oyashiro-sama. I've been viewing each incident as a separate case, even though it was followed by another one. I've never looked at all the cases as part of one big scheme. After I wrote down all the incidents on paper, it became clear to me that all of them served the same agenda. I wrote down the victims. The first year, the construction site manager. The second year, Satoshi-kun's parents. The third year, the priest. The fourth year, Satoshi-kun's aunt. For the fourth year, one could consider Satoshi-kun himself to be the victim rather than his aunt. If I considered that each case arose from the grudge over the dam conflict, it's quite simple. In the first year, the construction manager was killed because he was a symbol of the dam construction itself. Of course, the real enemy was the Ministry of Construction, but it wasn't as clear of a target. That manager, on the other hand, had been aggressively shouting back at the villagers, so he was a more appropriate enemy to attack. If Oyashiro-sama had really cursed someone, it would have been the officials from the Ministry. It's apparent that the target was selected based on the villagers' preference. The second year. The accidental death of Satoshi-kun's parents. It said that they fell from a cliff in some park, but it's doubtful that it was really an accident. His parents were labeled as traitors to the village because they sided with the dam construction, even though they were also from Hinamizawa. The Hojo family was ostracized during this dam conflict in order to prevent further pro-dam activists from rising up. That means that the Hojos were necessary during the conflict to play the role of the traitor. So when the conflict was over, they no longer served any purpose. The construction site manager was a symbol of the external enemy. The Hojos were a symbol of the internal enemy. Those people fell victim to the curse, and it seemed that the grudge over the dam conflict had ended. Yet those incidents were followed by another one. The third year. The leader of one of the three families, the priest Furude, suddenly died of an illness of an unknown cause. His wife drowned herself on the same night. Do we know for sure that she drowned herself? She seemed to have left a note that said she was sacrificing herself to pacify Oyashiro-sama's anger. Whether it was a fatal disease or suicide, their deaths looked suspicious. Mion admitted that the Sonozaki family didn't like the priest's attitude. They didn't like how the priest had been generous towards the pro-dam activists. The priest wasn't quite a traitor, but he was certainly uncooperative. Looking at these incidents, I realized that the curse was performed based on the degree of hostility. Enemy, traitor, and dissident. This meant that the curse was actually payment. It was a punishment for the criminals of war. And the fourth year, I didn't understand this case at all at first, to be honest. At first, I believed that this case was separate from the other ones, even though it occurred on the same day. I never thought that there would be any relation to the other three. But when I wrote it down and looked at it objectively, the victim is a relative of a traitor. After enemy, traitor, and dissident, relative of a traitor doesn't sound too odd. It comes naturally as a fourth target. But then why did Tomatake get killed in the next year? Because he had nothing to do with any of it. He was like a tourist that occasionally came for the festival and like took photos, but he didn't live in Hinamizawa. And he was just killed by his girlfriend. We don't even know why she did it. She's just insane. On the day the villagers worship Oyashiro-sama, the guardian deity, the criminals of the dam conflict have been punished by the curse. Just like how I was forced to pay at the Sonozaki house, the criminals were made to pay as well. After writing these things out, I started thinking that the fourth incident might be in line with the series of mysterious deaths after all. Whether it was Satoshi-kun or the dopehead, it seemed that they were forced to play the role of a murderer as part of a bigger scenario. Okay, I know dopehead is referring to like him being a crackhead or like a drug addict, but man, it just sounds like a juvenile insult. You dopehead! You so dopey! Even if Satoshi-kun is the real culprit, even if he killed his aunt because of an ordinary grudge, the murder seems synchronized with the grand scheme of the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, which is a payment plan for the war criminals. That murder was the result of his pain. But what if somebody planned that as part of the scenario? For instance, somebody might have suggested to him he kill his aunt on that day, that night, at that place. I had no doubt that Satoshi-kun decided to kill in order to protect Satoko. But did he really reach that conclusion on his own? Satoshi-kun was optimistic and somewhat detached, as far as I know. Would he have really considered murdering his aunt, even if it was to protect his sister? Did Tomatake get cursed because he was a tourist? Was it literally just a fight gone horribly wrong? I don't remember. I played Chapter 1 like 3 or 4 years ago. Couldn't it be possible for somebody to have chosen the aunt as the fourth year's murder beforehand? And they used Satoshi-kun? And if Satoshi-kun was eliminated because of his connection with them? Looking at it that way, the murder of the first year resembles the case. The main culprit behind that case hasn't been found yet, dead or alive. The other culprits testified that their fight had turned into a slaughter. But wouldn't it be possible that the main culprit had manipulated the situation? What if he had been told to kill someone on that day, at that time, and in that place? I'm certain. The first murder resembles Satoshi-kun's case very much. So, did that mean Satoshi-kun is being controlled by somebody else? Uisi had presented me with a hypothesis that the Sonozaki family made Satoshi-kun disappear in order to end my relationship with a murderer. But when I read the notes I wrote down, his disappearance didn't seem too spontaneous. It seemed like part of a bigger plan. Since I'd unexpectedly gotten involved in that plan, I had to be separated from him. Then Satoshi-kun is demoned away as planned. At first, I also believed that the Sonozaki family made him disappear because they didn't like that I was in love with a member of a family of traitors. But something didn't add up. Something felt strange. I wasn't the reason for his disappearance after all. Even if I never met him in the first place, Satoshi-kun was supposed to kill his aunt in June of 1982 and then disappear. At one point, I had been thinking of taking revenge on the hag. I'd believed that she separated us. But what if my relationship with Satoshi-kun had nothing to do with his disappearance? What would that mean? Who made Satoshi-kun disappear? I need to understand this series of mysterious deaths in order to solve this mystery. What did all these deaths mean? Who was behind them, and what purpose did they serve? I wanted to know the purpose, the motive, and who was responsible. Who took Satoshi-kun? I wanted to know if he was still alive. The series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa is also called Oyashiro-sama's curse. What is that curse? Specifically, what kind of god is Oyashiro-sama? What blessings does he bring and what punishments does he dole out? I wrote down my thoughts in the notebook. What's Oyashiro-sama? What is he? I scribbled these things down. I was so absorbed by it that I didn't realize somebody had been standing behind me, watching me the whole time. I couldn't stop myself from gasping when I realized that. Ah!
ごめんなさい。
Why are you here? Oh, nope. Oh, we in trouble now. It's the crazy girl. I like console art style for Takano.
驚かせちゃったかしら。
Hi, I wasn't expecting you. Of course she's reading about our notebooks. She's obsessed with Oyashiro-sama. The intelligent-looking woman giggled.
いえ、びっくりしただけです。こちらこそ場違いな大声を出してすみませんでした。
White woman jump scare? A little bit. She could have apologized a little better, too, since she'd been watching me from behind. But she just stared at my face instead.
あなたが園崎しおんさん？
私の名前を知ってて、私が初対面ということは、お姉の知り合いか何かですか？
Yeah, how do you know that I'm Shion? Being twins is a pain sometime. Some people you've never met before can tell exactly who you are.
ごめんなさいね。私の知っている園崎さんは図書館なんかに来るような人じゃないから。
Aren't we at the police station? Or did we go to a library instead?
噂に聞いた双子のしおんさんかなと思って。
When did you learn that she actually had a twin? I thought nobody knew until we announced it, like 2 days ago or whatever. The woman giggled again.
お察しの通り、私は園崎しおんです。どうもはじめまして、こんにちは。失礼ですがどちら様ですか？
あら、ごめんなさいね。自己紹介がまだだったわね。
She seemed to love her own hair because she kept running her fingers through it boastfully.
高野美代。美代って呼んでくれていいわよ。しおんちゃん。
Sorry, but your character profile says Takano, so that's what I'm referring to you as.
お気遣いありがとうございます、高野さん。
Her condescending attitude bugged me. The caterpillar drawing means it's not the police station. I didn't know if they just reused assets. They do that a lot. I hate meeting people like that. I closed my notebook and got ready to leave the desk.
あら、怒
She's
っ
like,
て
no,
る
I was just getting to the good part.
ご検察、痛み入ります。私は一人で考え事をするのが好きなんで、よそへ行かせていただきます。失礼します。ごきげんよう。
残念ね。私たち話が合うと思ったのに。
そうですか？私は合うとは思いかねますが。
だってお社様のたたりについて研究する同志に出会えたんですも
If
の。
there's a lunatic who would just kill randomly because of Oyashiro-sama's curse, it would be Takano.
貴重な出会いだと思うんだけど。
She saw my notes! My face reddened.
これは私のそう妄想みたいなもの。でたらめです。子供の落書きなんかほっといてください。
お社様のたたりと呼ばれる一連の連続
Yes,
開
we've
始
been
事
told
件。
this multiple times, Takano.
いずれの事件も個別に見えながら確実に一つの意思に基づいて行われている。
That is, yeah. Surprised at how subdued Shion is. You expect her to flip the bird at any adult bugging her. Yeah, I mean, she'll probably get to that point. Give her a year.
毎年一人がお社様のたたりにあって死に。
は何を急に言い出すんですか？一人がたたりで死んで、一人が何ですって？
I was taken aback by her weird spiel. But I realized right away that she'd said something extraordinary.
南沢村連続開始事件の犠牲者が常に偶数人数だってことはあなたも気づいてたんじゃない？それともまだそこまでには至ってなかったかしら？
The number of victims is always even. I was confused, but I tried to figure out what that meant. The damn construction site manager died in the first year. There was only one victim. In the second year, the victims were the parents of Satoshi-kun, so it was 2 people. In the third year, it was the priest, and if her death was also planned, his wife, 2 again. And in this year, the 4th year, Satoshi-kun's aunt died and Satoshi-kun went missing. But those were on 2 different days. Satoshi-kun didn't go missing until a couple days afterwards. If Satoshi-kun's disappearance was planned, the number of victims was 2. It's true. Except for the first one, the victims always came in an even number, 2. Wait. I had just concluded myself that the first case resembled the 4th one. The main culprit was still missing. He might have been demoned away, just like Satoshi-kun. Maybe Takano in Chapter 3 was a one-off incident. If anything, Takano is painting a target on her back by being so interested in this stuff. I'm pretty sure she... Actually, okay. Well, thinking back. So in Chapter 3, we basically got confirmation that she killed Tomatake and had his body stuffed in the trunk. But in Chapter 1, she didn't stuff him in the trunk. In chapter 1, he like tore his own throat out and they found his body. So either Takano in chapter 3 for some reason decided to keep the body in the trunk, or after she dropped Keiichi off and it's like, hey, we never met. She intentionally dropped his dead body somewhere so the police could find it. Huh. I'm also still trying to figure out what is exactly causing the difference in the timelines. Because there has to be something that causes the different actions. Because otherwise, it would be the same every time. If I spat that out correctly.
ね、そうでしょ。
Takano-san sounded like a teacher who had showed me how to solve a difficult math problem. I wasn't quite convinced, but I couldn't deny what she'd said either.
ヒントはこのくらいでいいかしら。二人で存分に語り明かしたかったんだけど、あなたが孤独を好むなら仕方がないしね。
失礼な口の聞き方をしてすみませんでした、ミオさん。私のことはシオンと呼んでください。
She seemed content that I changed my attitude. She kept giggling for a while. She didn't seem that reliable. I didn't want to be acquainted with her for too long. But I don't get to talk to people very much. And what she said interested me.
改めて自己紹介するわね。高野美代よ。美代って呼んでくれると嬉しいわ。
よろしくです、ミオさん。私は園崎シオン。ミオンの双子の妹にあたります。シオンと呼んでください。
I took the hand that Mio-san held out as a sign of reconciliation.
さっきの話を聞かせてください。二人犠牲者が出ると言いましたね。一人がたたりで、もう一人が、生贄とか言いましたか？
No, surely. She was not burned in the mountains in chapter 1 and 2. Because in chapter 2, we got the bombshell at the end where Uzi's like, by the way, she faked her own death. Like, we realized that the burned body that we thought was her was not actually her. So, she faked her death at the very least in chapter 2. And I'm pretty sure she fakes her death in the other chapters as well. Probably to continue the curse and to get away with killing Toмотake.
ねえ、シオンちゃん。この話で盛り上がる前に、どうしてこの話に興味があるか聞かせてもらってもいいかしら。
She leaned over and looked into my eyes. It was kind of uncomfortable.
ミオさんこそ、私のことをどこまでご存知です？ご存知なら、おおよその見当はつくんじゃないかと。
さあ、何年か遠くの全寮制の学校にいて、最近沖宮に戻ってきたとしか知らないわよ。
そうですか。
Oh yeah, I escaped from the terrible cult of the Catholic girls' school. Or
じ
at
ゃ
least
あ
what I
想
thought
像
was
つ
a
きます
cult.
よね。私がいない間に起こった連続開始事件。私はよくわからないので調べてるんです。ちょっとした興味本位で。
なるほどね。興味本位でね。
I get the impression that she knew about what happened to Satoshi-kun and me. Because she instantly recognized me as Shion, not Mion. Well, you also are missing 3 fingernails, so I didn't know why I thought that way, as she shouldn't have access to the sources that, for instance, Suisi does. It was just the look in her eyes that made me think that way.
ミオさんにも聞きます。さっき私のことをお社様のたたりについて調べる同志と言いましたね。なぜたたりなんか研究してるんですか？そして連続開始事件の犠牲者は偶数人であることも言い切りましたね。ひなみ沢連続開始事件は確かに通称でお社様のたたりと呼ばれています。なぜたたりを研究すると連続開始事件にまで踏み込むことになるのですか？
シオンちゃん、質問が一度に多すぎるわ
One
ね。
at a time.
それに何が聞きたいのかややこしくて分かりにくいわ。
Ooh. I couldn't say anything in return. Maybe I'd been too inquisitive.
順に答えるわね。私が研究しているのはたたりじゃなく、もっと講義。鬼ヶ淵村の風俗史よ。平たく言えば古代ひなみ沢村の知られざる歴史、暗
Onikafuchi.
黒史について研究しているの。
鬼ヶ淵村？鬼ヶ淵って鬼の国につながってるっていう村の奥にある底なし沼のことですか？あと知られざる歴史暗黒史って何です？
Well, she can't tell us about it now because she told us about it in chapter 2 and we didn't know, and Shion didn't know about it in chapter 2. I kept asking questions. Mio-san, however, looked pleased to hear them.
鬼ヶ淵村というのはひなみ沢村の明治以前の名前よ。暗黒史というのは人食い鬼の歴史は
Sure. Ah, the man-eating demons, huh? That was a fairy tale told in Hinamizawa. A long time ago, demons came out of the swamp while the villagers battled with them. They ended up living peacefully together. The villagers transcended and became a sacred people, having demon blood in their veins. That long-forgotten fairy tale came back to my mind vividly.
ひなみ沢に縁のある人なら誰もが知ってる
That's some
当たり前
Nephilim
の
level
昔
stuff
話よ
going
ね。
on.
ではその半人半鬼の仙人たちがと
何の話ですか？
村人たちの体に半分流れる鬼の血は鬼は鬼でも人食い鬼の血だったって話は聞いたことない？
ああ、まあそんな話もありますね。
I dodged the question. Hinamizawa used to be a desolate village, but it grew in prominence after the Second World War and expanded its influence to Okinomiya and other areas. The people who disliked and discriminated against the villagers called us man-eating demons. I remember that. The young villagers don't take it seriously, but the older people can seriously get upset about it. They certainly can't take it as a joke. So the term man-eating demons is forbidden. We normally never use it. Even during my rebellious phase, I never spoke those words. Mio-san, however, seemed to have no qualms of saying it out loud.
気に障った？
何がですか？
人食い鬼って単語を意味嫌う村人は多いからね。気に障ったなら謝るけれど。
Oh yeah, if there's one thing Takano really cares about, it's not making other people uncomfortable. That's why she told us all the like dark stories in the torture bunker.
年寄り連中は気にするらしいですけど、まあ私はそんなには気にしてませんので。それより続けてください。
ありがとう。じゃあ続けるわね。古代の村人たちにはね、人を食らう
as you do.
食人の習慣があったらしい。
Takano the rage baiter. Yeah, she definitely seems like somebody who would post rage bait.
そしてその食人の儀式を様式化し、さまざまなセレモニーや文化、風習を生み出したと言われて。
Man, we have gone a long time without getting it to be continued.
私たちが6月のお祭りだと思っている綿流しだって本来は犠牲者をさらい食べるために行う食人の宴
Yeah,
だ。
that's what Watanagashi used to be, right?
彼らはね、犠牲者を高速台に縛り付け、
Le.
お魚をおろす時みたいに腹綿を引きずり出
Oh
し
no, not Reddit.
て、それを川に投げ捨てたとされている。ほら、魚の腹綿って綿って言うじゃない。
It's cotton drifting or organ drifting.
それが語源よ。綿流しの。
綿流し。
Wait, so Shion already knows about this? I thought for sure that when she told us about this in chapter 2, Shion didn't know about it. So is this a separate timeline from chapter 2?
そう。
I really thought this was going to lead into chapter 2.
お布団の綿なんかでごまかすようになったのは、私の研究では明治の頃からじゃないかと思うわね。まさかこの昭和の時代にそんな恐ろしいことが堂々とできるわけもないのだし。
Yeah, exactly. She in chapter 2, she tells Shion this again, and Shion definitely reacted like she didn't know about it. Everything Mio-san was talking about sounded startling. I was just taken aback. I couldn't wholly believe it right away. She sensed that from my expression.
もちろん思いつきなでっち上げなんかでは断じてない。
Like, Takano, are you, like, writing your college thesis, like, for your PhD on this really obscure topic? Is that why you're obsessed, or are you just weird?
誰にも見せないって誓うなら、綿流しのあたりの研究ノートを見せてあげてもいいけれ
She's
ど。
planning a 10-hour YouTube deep dive video essay as a magnum opus. Mio-san took out a notebook from her bag and flipped through it. She appeared to be doing her research thoroughly.
ありがとうございます。お借りできるものなら後でゆっくり読んでみたいと思います。
本当は閲覧厳禁の秘密ノートだけれどね。
I bet you would. Okay, she looks significantly less sinister in the OG art style. Like, she actually just kind of looks cute or, like, a little derpy. But like here she's like, you better not tell anyone or I'll kill you.
研究の同志になら特別に見せてあげてもいいわね。
Mio-san handed me the notebook a bit hesitantly. It looked like it'd take the whole night to finish reading. It was densely packed with information. I saw copies of various documents and quotes in there too. It wasn't just some delusion of hers.
一番最初にミオさんは言いましたよね。毎年の事件で一人がたたりで死に、一人が生贄にされて失踪すると。
A person is sacrificed and disappears. Satoshi-kun had gone missing. Did he become a sacrifice? What is a sacrifice anyways? The remake, she looks like a snake. A little bit. Takano looks amused in the OG art style. She's more like, man, am I embarrassed to have this notebook. Or actually, wait, let's see what... Here she looks happy, but in this art style, maybe it's because she's turned away, or maybe it's her eyebrows. There's like a sinister edge to her laugh. Here she just looks cute in the OG art style. She's like, oh, I'm so happy you like my notes. Also, by the way, I've got a club on my sash. Here I think is the best mix of the two. She looks a little too sinister, I think, in the new art style. But this one does the sinister and, like, wholesome very well.
読めばわかるけど、かいつまんで話すわね。
Please do.
お社様のたたりとは、簡単に言えば、お社様の怒りのこと。お社様が怒ったら、罰としてたたりが起こる。それはわかるわよね。
一応わかります。ダム戦争で村に敵対した人間たちにお社様が怒り、たたりが起こったと。そう
ね。でね、お社様のたたりというのは、
It has to be every year, even though ignore the fact that it only started 4 years ago.
もっともっと大きなたたりを。
She looks like a sinister ex-girlfriend. Yeah, well, that's kind of what she is. She killed her boyfriend, so she is the sinister ex-girlfriend.
だから神職である古出家の歴代当主たちはお社様のたたりがあるたびにそのお怒りを鎮めるために生贄を捧げる必要があった。
Oh, they're saying every time somebody dies, they have to demon someone away, huh?
それを生贄の儀と呼ぶみたいなんだけどね。
じゃあつまり毎年綿流しの日にお社様のたたりで一人死んで、そのたたりを鎮めるためにさらにもう一人を生
But
贄
that
に
doesn't really make
して殺
sense.
してい
If
る
one person dies because of the
そういう
curse,
んですか？
aren't they dying because of the curse because of Oyashiro-sama's anger? But he's like, no, I'm so angry, you also have to kill someone else. It's like, bruh, chill.
でも一
Bro,
人
I'm
し
a
か死んでません
demon,
よ
you
現実
idiot.
に。
I don't chill.
生贄に捧げられたなんて聞いたこともない。
死体が出ないのは当然よ。
Takano's the kind of girl detectives would look at it and think, nah, it's too obvious. Takano is the kind of girl that nutcase guys would look at and be like, I can fix her. And that's what Tomatake said, and look what happened to him. You need to pacify your god, you need to kill the god's mascot. I don't know what was going on with Rika getting disemboweled in chapter 3 and 4. And not in chapter... Well, no, she died in chapter 2. She just got disemboweled. No, she didn't get disemboweled. She got just murdered by Shion. And in chapter 1, nothing happened to Rika. So that's a little strange.
だって生贄の儀式は犠牲者を鬼の
That's the fandom.
鎮めることなんだもの。
Why am I not surprised? You see, it's like she killed her boyfriend. It's like, yeah, but she's hot, so I can fix her.
あの沼は一度沈めば二度と浮き上がることはないと言われる底なしの沼。
Well, didn't they mention in chapter 4 that, like, in the Furide family, like, whenever there's, like, a girl born as the firstborn, like, 7 times in a row, they'll be reincarnated as Oyashiro-sama, and, like, that's supposed to be Rika? Which is part of why all of, like, the old people are like, oh my gosh, Rika's the best! Because, like, they kind of think, like, oh, she might be Oyashiro-sama. And, like, Rika's mom was like, there's something weird going on with, like, the villagers and, like, Rika. You could fix Tomatake. Tomatake doesn't need to be fixed. He's just a cool dude.
死体なんて出ようはずもない。
じゃあ毎年のもう一人の犠牲者はみんな 沼の底に沈んでると？
Does that mean Satoshi-kun is also at the bottom of that dark green swamp? What are you doing in my swamp?
本当に沼の底に沈められているかはわからないわ。
Who do I think would be the perfect Hollywood actress to be Takano? You were asking the wrong guy that. I don't know, like, any Hollywood actresses, because I don't really care about Hollywood.
でも連続事件を起こしている人たちがそれを意識して一人を消していることは間違いないと思うわね。
Each year, a traitor to the village dies on the day of Watanagashi because of Oyashiro-sama's curse. And another person is sacrificed in order to pacify Oyashiro-sama's anger. That person's body will never be found, because he or she is supposedly thrown into the bottomless swamp.
そう。つまり、ひなみ沢村連続開始事件というのは、たたりと、それを鎮めるための生贄の
That
二
means,
つの
that
セ
means
ット
in
になった
chapter
もの。
3, the victim of the curse was Teppei, and the person who got demoned away was Teppei's motorcycle. Because we drove it into the swamp.
そしてそれを毎年繰り返すことによってダム戦争時の旧敵を毎年2人ずつ殺していけるシステムのことを指しているの。私の話は省略しすぎてるからね。多分ちょっと信じがたいとは思う。だからこそあなたに預けた研究
Can I
ノー
borrow
トをね
them?
内容を理解できたなら私の話がそういい加減なものでもないことがわかるはず。
I heard a man's voice just then. A middle-aged man with a hat was waving at Mio-san from the entrance.
ごめんなさい。待ち人が来たみたい。
Yeah, why did you come to the library?
もっとゆっくり話がしたかったのに。でも機会はまだこれからもあるでしょうしね。そのノートはそれまで預けておくわね。
We just can borrow
中
them?
身をよく読んで理解できたなら私のいい話し相手になってくれるのを楽しみにしているわね。
Mio-san wrapped up the conversation and headed to where the man was waiting for her. She left her old notebooks in my hands. Wow, she literally just left all of our notes for us. Now we can make the 10-hour deep dive YouTube video and take away her credit. Wow. You were thinking Scarlett Johansson just because she's blonde, but she's also too attractive? Takano's actor needs to be a mix between cute and attractive, and good at being creepy. This shouldn't be hard for Hollywood actresses to do. She waved at me as she left the library with her companion. Oh, we won't know if it's Tomatake, Shirley. Sorry. You'll have to use your imagination. Maybe every year she gets a new boyfriend. This year's model is called Kronk. I took a seat again and opened what she'd given me. What bugged me was the series of mysterious deaths, also known as the Curse of Oyashiro-sama. Maybe I'd be able to get closer to the truth by reading these notebooks. Bro, when are we getting it to be continued? We're almost an hour into the stream. We usually get one every 30 minutes or so. If I study them carefully, I might be able to find out who was really behind the incidents. Why did Satoshi-kun have to disappear? What was he involved in? How did that happen? Maybe Takano's notes would bring me the answer. Research notes. Mio Takano. I started flipping through the pages, this time making sure that no one was watching over my shoulder. It should have been me, not him! It was time for the library to close. I had to leave. You need to leave. I bought some food on my way home. Shion, if you spend all your money getting takeout, then you're going to run out of money. It's cheaper to make your own food. I shut the door and locked it right away. Fish welcome mat welcomes you to Shion's apartment. So does Teddy Bear and Bunny Trash Can. Then I heard the door of the neighboring apartment open. Kasai lived next door. Nobody else lived on this floor of the nearly empty apartment building anyway. I clearly heard the door open and close. Kasai must have noticed that I came home and was coming over because he wanted to talk to me. I unlocked the door and shouted out to him.
葛西なの？鍵は開いてますよ。葛西さんじゃないよ。
Uh-oh.
シオン。
That voice. I twitched.
入るよ。
No!
どうぞ。おね。
The door slowly opened. I probably wouldn't have been so eager to let her into the apartment after what she did at the torture room. My alter ego, Mio and Sonozaki, appeared. She was holding a box of cake, while smiling timidly. You think this makes up for it?
どうぞ上がってって言うまで玄関に突っ立ってるつもりですか？どうぞ上がって。全然可愛くない部屋で申し訳ないけどね。 落ち着いた雰囲気のとこだね。
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. So I gotta ask people. Mion Sprite, do you prefer console version, remake, or OG? Now, I gotta say, I love that she has a gun in the OG art style. That is pretty boss. Having said that, my personal favorite, I think, for Mion. Oh, okay, in this particular case, the console looks pretty good, but I always like the remake for Mion. But doggone it, why can't we have, like... Why can't she have a holstered gun here? Why does she only get the gun in the OG art style? Why? The gun is way too cool. Also, definitely adds a level of danger. Shirley, okay, Ruben prefers console, Shirley prefers remake. Honestly, we've had remake art style for her for a while. Let's try console for a bit. Sis looked a bit tense when entering my room. It was her first time here.
生活はどう？新しい学校はやっぱりつまらないです。一応通ってはいますけど、気分が乗らないときはサボらせてもらって
She owns a
ます。
latchkey kid.
全寮制だとなかなかそうはいかないですからね。
Censorship? Okay. I'm trying to wrap my head around the reasoning for this one. We had in chapter 3 Satoko borderline naked in like the towel scenes, which was deeply uncomfortable. We also had Rika's body completely disemboweled, only slightly being censored by like crows eating her innards. But no, a gun? No, we can't show that. That's way too much. I mean, if we show guns, that would be like Looney Tunes. We can't be like Looney Tunes.
センルチはやっぱり辛かったが。チェ、お姉も一度閉じ込められてみろってんです。
That won't be awkward. If she goes, it's like, Shion! There you are! Tackles her. You spread rumors that you were sleeping with the male teachers?
ごめんごめん。ケーキ買ってきたからさ、食べよ。
Yeah, censorship works weirdly. Japan can't have guns, but kids naked, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, Japan, I know, definitely doesn't frown on nudity as much as the United States. United States definitely is one of the most strict places when it comes to nudity. I know, like, here it's generally seen as a sexual thing, whereas in Japan it's more often seen as like it's like a purity thing, or like a innocence kind of thing. Or just they don't mind it as much. But even then, just showing a gun? Yeah, and the Angel Mort uniform. We have characters working at Hooters, which is very revealing. But no, can't show a holstered gun. It's just, yeah, cultural differences. There's I thought that said cheesecakes. We have the same taste in food, so we don't have to fight if we get two of the same thing. I chatted with her over the cheesecake. I talked to her about school and whatnot. Why are you so chill with her after she was like, hey, tear out your fingernails?
必要な家具とかがあったら言ってね。融通できるかもしれないから。この部屋にもようやく馴染んできたとこだけど、近いうちに引き払うかもしれないから、家具はノーサンキューです。
Super Brain, first live.
うちのお父さんが沖宮に住むつもりなら戻ってこいってうるさいんで
Is
す
that
よ。
a good thing or a bad thing?
お父さんに会いたくないんだけど、かといって
You
逆らう
can't
のも
say
怖
no
いし
to
な。
literal Yakuza dad.
お父さんもシオンがいなくなって寂しそうだったから、なんだかんだ言っても帰ってきたら喜ぶと思うよ。
Yakuza's a lonely life.
チェー、人事だと思って。
I mean, shit, Mion has to live with Demon Granny, so... Come to think of it, this was the first time I talked to Sis since I was allowed to live as Shino and Sonozaki. Fast and the Furious, it's all about family, Higurashi. Yeah, no. Look, sometimes your family is terrible, and sometimes you luck out with, like, Keiichi. She didn't look like how she was at the Sonozaki house that day. The successor of the Sonozaki family and the twin sister are two different people. And my twin sister are two different people. The demon lives inside the leader of the Sonozakis. Our bodies are exactly the same, except for the tattoo of a demon on her back. Mion's destiny as the successor was set in stone when she got that tattoo. It's pretty simple. The Mion from that night was different from the Mion before me. When I was forced to tear off my fingernails, I had momentarily despised her. But if I were the next leader of the family, I'd have done the same thing. You would have?
シオン、
She's sad.
爪は治った？もうすっかり傷口は塞がったからね。最近は目立つのがかえって嫌なんで、包帯みたいなのもしてないです。
You are very nonchalant about that.
でもまだだいぶいびつでね。あまり人には見せられないかな。
I sneered at her, displaying my incomplete fingernails. Mion grew quiet and looked down.
謝らなくていいよ。ミオンだって、あそこは仕方なかったんだか
But
ら
here's
さ。
the thing, if nobody stands up to the evil granny or like, this is how things are done, it'll never change. And you're just gonna keep perpetuating this terrible cycle.
次期当主の役割を演じただけ。恨んじゃいないから。ごめんね。オッケー。その謝罪で私は全部チャラにした。でも、もう一度謝ったらそれは取り消し。一生許さないよ。
Okay, wow.
え、何それ。お姉は一度謝りモードに入るとなかなか抜けられない悪い癖がありますからね。私の方で区切らないとキリがないんです。本当に許してくれるの？サトシとのことも。
My heart ached when she mentioned his name. It just felt like the ache of an old wound.
シオンがサトシのことを好きなのは、もちろんあれだけ大勢の前で熱愛宣言しちゃいましたからね。
Shion feels like the rebellious family member who'd say no, so I think right now she's just coping with what happened to her. Maybe. Maybe. You'd love for Keiichi to scream at Granny. I bet that'll happen at some point.
なんだか今更恥ずかしくもなんともないや。でも、バッチャはあれで本当にけじめがついたと思ってるんだよ。
Really?
シオンがちゃんと自分でけじめをつけてみせたから、それで全部終わりって。そうでなきゃ困ります。あれだけ痛い思いしたんですから。サトシ、どこに行ったんだろうね。
As if you don't know. I started choking when I heard her say that. Oh no, she went photo negative. That's never a good sign. Oh my gosh. Shion was so shocked. Mion looks completely different now. What? How did that happen? I just said it to her myself. I said that I'd forgiven her completely. But that promise instantly evaporated. Just because of what she said, I felt like I turned into a completely different person. Wow. What did you say, Mion? Did you say, I wonder where Satoshi-kun disappeared to? Who else could know other than you and your folks? What did you say? Where did he go? I felt my eyeballs reddening in anger. It felt as though they were about to pop. I choked on a burning sensation in my throat. Did you stick a needle in my cake just like you did to Keiichi in Chapter 1? Or maybe Shion did in Chapter 1? Neon's expression rapidly changed. It looked like she'd noticed the devil's mask on my face. We were one and the same. We could understand each other's thoughts without voicing them. So showing our expressions was like unveiling everything in our hearts to the other. The glass shattered. Oh, yeah. Last time we went photogenic, Keiichi went crazy and decided to kill the uncle. Yeah, it only took him 1,500 seconds to do that. Even though I told her not to apologize anymore, Mion apologized. I felt like strangling her. Get it under control, Shion! Dear God! You knew this guy for like a week. And you're like, I will kill my sister because she insulted him. I was going to make her confess where she'd hid Satoshi-kun. If she told me she threw him into the Onigafuchi swamp, I'd strangle her to death right then and there.
サトシのことは本当に知らないの。
That's a lie.
本当。バッチャだって何も知らない。
Really?
本当なの。嘘だ嘘だ嘘だ。じゃあ本当にお社様のたたりで鬼隠しにあったとでも言うつもりなのか。たたりなんてあるもんか、たたりなんてあるもんか。
Words kept coming out of my mouth, like I was chanting a spell. I wasn't speaking by my own will anymore. It was the demon who was controlling me. The demon that had been sleeping deep inside me woke up and was speaking through my mouth. My hands, the demon's hands grabbed Mion by the neck.
お前たちがサトシ君を鬼隠しにしたんだ。お前たちその先本家が、お前たちが返して、私のサトシ君を返して。
Alright, we broke.
返して。
My hand slowly but surely squeezed Mion's neck. Wow, we're just doing this. Mion put her hands onto mine. I looked at her fingers. 3 of the fingernails on her left hand looked as ugly as mine. Oh, Shirley, you called it!
ミオ、これはどうしたの？
Tears rolled down her cheeks. She didn't have to answer. She had the same scars as I did. She atoned as well. The way those wounds were healing looked the same as mine. So, did she get those wounds around the same time I did?
シオンだけが爪を剥がされるなんてかわいそうすぎるんだもん。
But, okay, if she was willing to do that, though, why would you not just stand up to Grandma and be like, no, Grandma, you're being stupid. Like, we're not doing this. Mion started sobbing. I stood there petrified while still wringing Mion's neck.
シオンがね、サトシのことを好きだって分かって、私、シオンとサトシに幸せになってほしかったんだよ。だって、シオンばっかり、いつもかわいそうで、私たちは同じ双子なのに、なんでシオンばっかり、いつも差別され。
It didn't come as a surprise to me that Mion might have also loved Satoshi-kun as I did. We've always liked the same stuff and even the same people. She was stupid enough to feel obligated towards someone like me.
私ね、ばっちゃにね、怒鳴って言ったんだよ。シオンとサトシをそっとしてあげてほしいって。そしたら、けじめをつけたら見逃そうっていう話になって。だからね、
Ooh, really?
ちゃんとシオンが頑張ったから。なのに、サトシいなくなっちゃった。
Uh-oh.
こんなのひどいよね。
And then the same thing kind of happens with Keiichi. I don't know what to think about Mion, because she has her sweet moments, but she also is a bit of a tool at times. Mion isn't smart enough to shed crocodile tears, so you know. Those tears were real. Her tears dissolved my demon's anger like how the sun melts ice. Anti-W Snowball.
信じて、シオン。本当にサトシがどうしていなくなってしまったのか、わからないの。
Oh, I thought she might have had her eyes closed and be crying in the others. But no. She just looks mildly disappointed here, but she, like, her voice actress is sobbing.
園崎家とかバッチャとか、本当にそういうのは何も関わってないの。
How much you wanna bet?
バッチャはシオンのけじめで全てを許して。
Did she?
だからサトシに何かするなんて絶対にないの。
Grandma's like, if you want my forgiveness, you gotta tear your fingernails out, kid.
ミオ、
Jeez Louise.
ごめん。苦しかった。
Well, you kind of strangled her. I took my hands off her neck and held her instead.
苦しくなんか。
That might be hard to explain the finger marks around your neck the next day.
シオンはもっともっと苦しかったんだよね。
I feel like we should have had a CG there of the two of them hugging each other while crying. I shouted at the demon in my mind. I believed in Mion. I had been convinced that it was the Sonozaki family that made Satoshi-kun disappear, but Mion denied it while shedding tears. Between her and me, her tears are more convincing than any words. So I'd believe in her. It absolutely wasn't the Sonozaki family that made him disappear. Then who was it? So, do you really think Satoshi-kun disappeared because of Oyashiro-sama's curse? I don't believe in curses. And Mion didn't do it. If it wasn't the curse or the Sonozaki family, who demoned him away? I don't know! I just know it's not Mion. It's not the Sonozaki family because Mion said so. That stupid Shion. Are you going to ignore Satoshi-kun's voice? I know! You don't have to remind me, demon! I can hear his voice. I know he's mumbling with an ambivalent expression like he's always used to do, even though he knows help won't come. I'll help him no matter what. I'll save him if he's alive. I'll avenge him if he's dead. But Mion didn't do it. You just want to take it out on somebody. It doesn't matter who. But I'm Shion, not a demon. You're only a part of me. Don't try to take control. Fuck off! Don't ever show up again. Well, that was an interesting conversation. You now believe Chapter 2 was Shion? I've been theorizing that since Chapter 2. Shion absolutely went crazy, and I definitely believe that she, like, pretended to be Mion. I just don't know why then, if that's the case, Mion was, like, answering to Shion. That's the weird part, unless she, like, forced her into it, but it seems a little weird. Mion, why are you arguing with yourself, sis? Yeah, so the demon faded away. Does that mean that she actually has a demon possessing her right now, and she's, like, aware of it, but it's just like, no? Or is this just basically her calling her, like, inner conscience a demon or something? It's interesting. My body went limp, and I fell to the floor while holding Mion.
シオン、大丈夫？
No, Shion is not alright.
もう大丈夫だよミオン。私たちはどうしてミオンとシオンなんだろうね。どうして
What
同
are
じ
you
一人であ
saying?
ってはいけ
Are
な
you
いんだろ
saying
う
why
ね。
weren't we just born as one person and not twins? This is weird.
やめなよ。私たちはもう何度もそれを自問してきたよ。でも答えなんか出ない。現実に私とあなたはミオンとシオン。それが現実。私ね、自分がミオンでもシオンでもどっちでも私たちは私たち。公平な関係でいたいのに。
But Mion's sprite does not have torn nails. Plot hole!
仕方がないよ。ミオンの背中には鬼が宿ってる。闘志を継ぐ定めが宿ってる。
You think it's just an inner demon and not an actual demon? Most likely. But I'm keeping that in the back of my head.
それは仕方がない。私、嫌だ。鬼なんかいらない。鬼なんかいらない。私は鬼じゃない。鬼じゃない。同じ人間なのがいい。
Mion is a demon and Shion is a human. Even though we're twins, there's a difference between us. Was it impossible for humans to live with demons after all? It should be possible, because they did it before. That's the legend of Hinamizawa. Humans and demons lived in harmony together, as Oyashiro-sama watched over them. Mion, Shion, Satoshi-kun, demons, humans. Oyashiro-sama's curse, the series of mysterious deaths. Satoshi-kun's disappearance. We fell asleep while holding each other. Just like Sayori said, there's a demon within us all or something like that. Sometimes there's a little demon in all of us. Maybe. While holding everything. Oh my gosh, it's an hour and 15 minutes into the stream, but we finally get our first to be continued. Do we at least get tips? Yeah! Whoa, 3 of them! Okay, let's go. That was just a chapter that didn't have a to be continued in the minute of it. Payment! Reconciled with a close relative. Wow. And the achievement was a hand being held up with some bloodied fingernails. Ain't that a coinky-dink? Notebook page 50. I saw Mio Takano a few times after that. Oh. Let the animation finish before changing your art style. You know? Let's have cute Takano for this one. At her core, she was fascinated with the bizarre, and she had an insatiable curiosity that was just as strong. I have to remind myself not to take her story too seriously. Why? I'm so cute. Otherwise, I might start believing that Satoshi-kun disappeared because of the curse. She talks about the dark history of Hinamizawa a lot. It's all very interesting. Her theories are based on nothing but conjecture, but some of her intuition covers facts that only members of the Sonozaki family would know. She thinks that Oyashiro-sama's curse is the continuation of these ancient rituals. In other words, she believes that the curse is performed by religious fanatics. According to her theory, a religious cult once existed in Hinamizawa, and the 3 families stemmed from it. She believes that they are operating behind the scenes in order to revive the dignity of the Onigafuchi people, which was lost during the Meiji era. Mio-san's theories are far-reaching, and looking at them on a larger scale, they end up making a lot of sense. But they can't offer any explanation for Satoshi-kun's disappearance when using them on a smaller scale. Her theories are just too broad. You like her blouse in that sprite. She does look nice in the OG art style. There's a couple characters that I think look kind of nice in the OG art style. Takano is one, Rena's another. Although Rena having the weird, like, ooh, he's so good finger motions is kind of weird. But, like, I actually like the rest of her. And I think there was one other, was it? Oh, Rika, but specifically just Rika when she's in her school uniform. I exchange information with Luisi every now and then. We'd expect new leads from each other, but neither of us had any luck. Do not let Takano learn about the Aztecs or the Mayans. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is her all-time favorite movie. I no longer believe the tip that Satoshi-kun might have headed to Tokyo. It was clearly bogus anyways. Although I can't befriend Uisi, he's been fair about the deal. He alone has been serious about uncovering any new information. Uisi's sources are quite reliable, so whenever I found some dubious tip, I'd check with him to see if it was valid. My meetings with him have diminished in frequency since he's been assigned to new cases. Yeah, that makes sense. Eventually, we stopped meeting entirely. Uisi stopped investigating, and I reached the limits of my sources of information. People now think that Satoshi-kun's disappearance was a supernatural phenomenon called demoning away. In Hinamizawa, they refer to his disappearance as him having transferred, and nobody will talk about it otherwise. I don't like that phrase. I don't like the way that phrase is used to erase him. Oh, is that why Shion flipped out on Keiichi a bit in Chapter 3 when he's like, yeah, Satoshi-kun transferred, right? And she's like, what did you say? And like had the really creepy sprite. That's probably it. There are extra visual novel content set in the early periods of the Onigafuchi Hinamizawa. Is that not part of the, like, 8 chapters that are on Steam, though? During the upheaval surrounding Oyashiro-sama's curse in 1982, I was pulled this way and that by new leads on Satoshi-kun's disappearance. Every time I found information that looked promising, I kept changing my theories. It's not part of the 8 main... Okay. But that also became an incredible burden on me. It wore me down plenty on its own. The fatigue was harsh, but it also provided a very kind acceptance. Bit by bit, it soothed away the anger, sadness, and doubt that wore me down. I'll never forget Satoshi-kun. I'll never try to forget him and move on. I constantly repeated those to myself in my head. I repeated them to keep my memories of Satoshi-kun from fading too, over and over. For the sake of my fond memories of Satoshi-kun, together with my fear and my sadness, I repeated them forever and ever. I don't want to be that guy, but what fun memories of Satoshi-kun do you have, except like the 2 times he rubbed your head? Your memories of him were like, him showing up when you were attacked by street gang members when you already didn't need his help. Like, watching him play baseball one time, and then him screaming at you after you beat up his 10-year-old sister. Like, that's it. Again, I don't want to be that guy, but you might be overblowing this a bit. Unless those notebook pages were not made by Shion, but that would be very weird if they weren't. I love that it's...
淡くて
Never
儚
mind.
い
Okay.
シャボン玉のような恋心。空を望めばやがて壊れて消えるように、少女の思いは
I don't...
虚しく叶わなかった。
I don't recognize who's saying that.
流した涙は血の色となって生贄を求め、口をついた悲しみは怒りとなって殺意を生み出してゆく。
That voice sounded kind of like Rika's at first,
純
but
粋すぎる黒は
no, I don't
全てを
recognize the
飲み
voice.
込んで闇を広げる。やがては自分自身さえも。目明かし。生まれてこなければよかったのか。血みどろの手は虚空すらつかめなかった。
Oh, time skip! Time skip! Are we going into chapter 2? Please go into chapter 2 from Shion's perspective. The fourth year of the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, also known as Oyashiro-sama's curse. 1 year after Satoshi Hojo's disappearance. Let's go. Let's go. I hadn't been able to get used to my new school in Okinomiya, but I had some friends there now. Since I got a part-time job at my relative's store, I had some extra pocket money too. Did we reach the midpoint? Probably. That was the end of chapter 8, and I think there are 16 chapters. So yeah, I think this is exactly the midpoint now. I ended up living with my parents after all, so I didn't have to pay for living expenses. Yeah, save that money! It felt great to get to freely spend the money I earned from working. I still used the room Kasai set up for me from time to time. It was a convenient hideout for when I didn't want to see my parents. That is interesting, because at the end of Chapter 2... Okay, the end of Chapter 2 was a cluster cuss. I still don't know what to make of it. But they did mention that, like... Okay, no, wait, I'm trying to remember. Because I think at the end of Chapter 2, because they definitely found Satoko and Rika's bodies, along with the, like, mayor's body down in, like, the weird sewer part of the torture dungeon. I also think that Shion, aka the twin that was locked up by the other twin, died. And then I think the original twin, they're also like, yeah, she died. She fell out of her apartment window, which was this apartment. But then she also showed up in in Keiichi's hospital room and, like, smashed him with a hammer. Although I'm pretty sure Keiichi was just crazy and that didn't actually happen. Yeah. Okay, so the apartment does still play a role, even though she's living with her parents now. In fact, I was planning to spend a day there today.
くしょう、先行め。サボりのことを家に連絡しやがって。
Wow, how dare she make sure you're actually taking your studies seriously as your teacher? My dad got upset, and that's why I didn't want to stay at home. I had been asking for it, though. Yeah, you did. My teacher should know that my dad is a Yakuza and that he gets really scary when he's mad. On the whole, my life has been going well so far, except that it was boring. A boring life does not mean a bad life. The reason I could enjoy this lifestyle is probably because I had to live in secret before. It was a great relief to be able to live without having to fake my identity. Well, that might have been a valuable experience. I think I learned from it. I was going grocery shopping and thought I'd get enough food for a week or so. My parents would appreciate my presence more after missing me for a week. I was doing this for their sakes. Yeah, of course you were.
あれ？今日って確か100円セールのお店ってなかったっけ？
Dang! We're going to dollar store!
そうだそうだ、間違いない。
I knew how to save my pocket money. I was in a good mood. I spun around with my arms spread out. I felt like I was inside a little whirlwind. This is the exact same dialogue we got right before we ran into the street gate again. Are we gonna run into the street gate again? My arm hit a motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. It obviously wasn't there where it was supposed to be. Is the exact same thing going to happen just with Keiichi this time?
何？こんなとこに止めてるのだ。
Wait, no, but in Chapter 2, Keiichi angered Street Gains, and Mion/Shion came to our rescue. I gave the motorcycle a kick with no hesitation. This is the exact same dialogue! This is exactly the same as last time! Binky Barnes' World of Tomorrow. There were 3 motorcycles lined up in a row. They all fell like dominoes. It was beautiful and so much fun. You learned nothing from a year ago! Oh? This was odd. I felt like I'd gone through the exact same experience before. Yeah. While blinking my eyes in an effort to recall what that was, some people grabbed me by the neck and dragged me into a dark alley. Is it the same exact delinquents? It looked like those punks were the owners of the motorcycles. They started shouting at me. This was really strange. I was having deja vu. Yeah, you bet you were stupid again. Are these the same guys and they don't recognize it? What is happening? Yeah, it's the same guy! I remember this guy having that dumb voice. And that guy just growls. That's right. It was when I met Satoshi-kun for the first time. He came to save me. If I pretended to cry again now, would he come to save me again? I made a wish. And I started pretending to cry and beg for mercy. Keiichi is going to show up and she's going to be, are you Satoshi? Is that why we're going to become obsessed? At that time, I doubted my ears. Yep, there he is! The one, the only. And he has a sprite now! It was a boy about my age. I couldn't quite see his face because of the light illuminating him from behind. Ain't that convenient? The holy radiance.
Satoshi-kun?
Of course, it couldn't be him. It couldn't be. Oh! Interesting tank top there, bud. When I snapped out of my daydream, I realized it wasn't Satoshi-kun after all. Okay, folks. We got him. Oh, dude! Wait! Keiichi kind of ripped in the remake art style. Oh, let's go. Dane, he looked cool. Oh, Dane! Wait! He actually looks great in the OG art style, too. I feel like because he didn't get a sprite until chapter 5, I think whoever did the OG graphics may have improved their style by then. He actually looks good in this art style. What is this? Okay, folks. Okay, folks. Which is best? Console, OG, or remake? Because I actually like all three of these. I genuinely like all three of these. They're all great. Can't you stop skipping arm day in the console version? It's not his fault. All the console people have skinny chicken bone arms. Dude, I think remake might be my favorite just because he's like, he's kind of cut, kind of ripped. What is that outfit? I do remember him having that orange tank top in one of the CGs, I think. OG, then console, then remake. I mean, here he looks like he looks extra Japanese here. Maybe it's just because of the eyebrows. But he looks like, I don't know which game it is. There's a game that where like a character has these eyebrows. Is it like Yakuza or Tekken? I don't know. Remake, console he's too stringy, and the OG he has a questionable outfit. Darn it. I have to I must choose, Sheriff Woody. Okay, let's see how the lip sync goes on the console, at least for a little bit. It wasn't Satoshi-kun after all. He looked less gracious than Satoshi-kun, so to speak. If Satoshi-kun was pristine and untouched, then this guy would have scratches all over him. But although they were completely different, I got a similar impression from him somehow.
Don't want to mess with delinquent.
The boy looked a bit taken aback.
いや、もう泣いてるんだから、それくらいで勘弁
Oh
してあげてもいいんじゃないかな。
no! Don't wuss out! Don't wuss out on us! Come on! Oh, now he looks so derpy, man! Come on! Oh, he looks real derpy in this one. Okay, you know what? That's not even a vest, it's a fashion nightmare. I love the debate between the different styles. Let's go OG for a little bit. We haven't actually got OG for a bit. I want to see this. Why are we getting Rika's theme song for Keiichi?
たま、暴力は良くないぜ。
You're against violence. Oh no. What was up with this guy? I felt ashamed that I mistook him for Satoshi-kun even for a second. He seemed cool at first, but he wasn't as cool as Satoshi-kun after all. Yeah, that's interesting, because Keiichi has like the tough guy look and the tough guy voice, but he's like, I don't want trouble. And Satoshi has like the femboy look and like the really high-pitched voice, but he actually is like, no, I'm sticking up for what's right. It's interesting foils.
いや、だからバイクが倒れたのはお気の毒と思いますよ。でもですね、どうか機嫌を直されてですね。
Bruh.
どうしたら機嫌を直してくださるんです
Oh
かね。
no. I mean, to be fair, Shion is at fault here.
いや、もちろん私たちはお金
Bro, he didn't even wuss out this much in chapter 2? What the heck? Okay, so this is not a repeat of chapter 2.
If you guys have no money, we're gonna punch you in the face.
Alright, bro. Delinquent number 3 is a creep. Okay, well he just went up from creep to criminal. Hey, are you kidding me? I tightened my grip on the stun gun in my pocket. Oh, she got a taser. Let's go. I then turned it up to the maximum intensity. Don't hold a grudge against me if you die, pervs. Okay, give him the Von Karma treatment. Let's go. Delinquent sucks. These guys are disgusting. Yikes. Absolute yikes. They indulge in their imaginations, which arouse their spirits. Hey now, why are you perverts closing in on me? Gee, I wonder why. Your gross hands are groping the air. Are you gonna try and violate me? You know, just in case you didn't know, the delinquents were not good guys. They just decide to drop a banner line like, "Ma, stripping's awesome." Wow. You guys are the worst. You're doing this in like an alley that's part of the main walkway. This ain't gonna end well. What the heck? Alright, 10,000 volts of electricity coming up.
あんたら冗談でしょ。その汚い手で私に触れるな。
Then a flash of light cut for the air. Was that the boy? He became ripped! Let's go, Keiichi. Finally, you found it. Blows like thunderbolts knocked the punks down. Wow, so he was actually strong after all? Well, yeah. He grew muscles in his art style. Keiichi was fine until they mentioned taking her socks off. Then he's like, oh, not He has very weird minds. Oh, are you really gonna beat up Cookie Monster like that? I was joking! You're right, OG for this moment with his glare.
絶対これはいいかよく聞けド素人どもホモ・サピエンスと動物の違いは何か
Well, Homo sapiens aren't animals, so that's it.
そう衣服の着用
Yeah, that's the only difference, right?
つまり人は肌以外の衣服の彩りがあって
You're
初めて人なのだ
a weird man. Keiichi Maibara, you have very strange tastes.
つまり肌色を求めすぎる貴様らは人以下動物と同じだ貴様ら全員を強制する歯を食いしばれ
Oh man, he punched him so hard he made him barf. He made them all barf! Let's go, Keiichi!
先ほどタイトミニを引き合いに出したな例えばここに美少女と呼ぶにふさわしい女の子がいたとする美少女と一言に言ってもその裾野は広すぎるそれについて貴様らに抗議することは寿司山芸者から入った外国人に侍の美学を一から説明するより困難この上極まりない
I'm with Shion. Satoshi is way better than him.
だからここでは最も普及していると思われる制服系で説明することとする制服系の御三家といえば何か答えてみろ
I don't even want to know where you're going with this. This is stupid.
そうだな制服体操服スクール水着だろ
You know what? You lost me. You've been downgraded to shrimpy art style.
なおセーラーかブレザーかの好みの違いは制服にカテゴライズするものとするもちろんブルワーかスパッツかの違いも同様すく水も紺か白かの違いはあるぞカテゴリーは同じ扱いだどうだこれだけでも甘美な響きがするであろうではお前ら3人がこれらのうちの一つずつが好みであったと仮定しようおい不良 A お前は制服だ不良 B お前は体操服そして不良 C はすく水だ
Why?
頭に思い描け時間は3秒
Why? What is the purpose of this dialogue?
妄想くらい自在にできろ気合が足りんやり直せではお前らの望む美少女がここにいてその衣装を着ているぞあると思えあると信じろ気合を
Now
入
I
れ
want
ろ
to punch Keiichi in the face too.
返事は押すか
How?
イエスサーだ
How is it possible that in any social interaction, Shion is the most likable character? How have we gotten to that point?
バカ者それでも軍人かよーし描けたようだな次に進むぞそれらの萌え衣装と貴様らの馬鹿げた浴場に従いお色気ムンムンなタイトミニスカート姿を見比べてみろ
Apparently that last part of the sentence was too much, and they were not allowed to say that in the console version, because he just went dead silent there. Okay, this is very weird. I'm gonna be frank right now. The only way that this actually is justified is if Keiichi is purposefully being weird to stall it out so the police show up. That's the only explanation.
最近まだ萌えと色気の違いのわからん未熟者が増えているが実に嘆かわしい
why is that line not voiced? You really think that is a line that deserves censorship, but the delinquents chanting strip her was not?
本能でしか女性の魅力を語れない貴様らは犬
He's
猿
actually,
キ
he's
ジだ
actually practicing his ventriloquism skills. He just hasn't mastered it yet.
きびだんごでももらって鬼ヶ島へでも失せろ Get back here! ちなみに最近の東西雪解けに従い萌えもいろいろな類が大量に上陸しているな
Bro, I really want to punch him.
そんなことも知らんのか愚か者は制服系と金髪を掛け合わせてアニメ系などという酸素と水素が掛け合わされて
This is the worst first impression!
組み合わせが出ているようだが本館は断じて
How does Shion become obsessed with this guy? He's the worst! Well, no, that's not true. He's not even the top 5 worst characters in this.
和洋折衷はこの世界には存在しない貴様ら聞いているのか
No, I'm not. I tuned you out a very long time ago, Keiichi.
歯を食いしばれ今日は徹底的にしごく貴様らが真の萌え文化を理解できるまで今日は寝られないと思え
Where did Keiichi's parents go wrong? His parents seem pretty normal. Why did he turn out like this? I blame the public school system.
指導指導指導
At that whole point, I heard a bustle of people running this way.
前原さんみんな呼んできました
Oh, yes! Tomita! I saw several kids running towards us. Yeah! The school kids who are our bros. Seemed like backup had arrived.
やばいぞつながれ
I feel like there was a better way of doing that scene. And by that I mean there absolutely was. The 3 punks had just been standing there at gate, but they started running away when they saw that many people.
さすが前原さんですね。
Okamura and the other kid!
たった一人であんな怖そうな3人組を釘付けにしちゃうなんて。
I would not agree with the fact that he's awesome.
3人の1人鼻血出してましたね前原さん喧嘩も強いなんてすごいです尊敬します
I will never understand the nosebleed thing. Like, oh, they're thinking pervy thoughts. They get a nosebleed. Like, that is not how that happens.
俺の固有結界もますます磨きがかかったようだな今に監督の固有結界メイドインヘブンに太刀打ちできるくらいに磨きをかけてやるぜ
That's not something you want to surpass, you doofus.
大丈夫かよミオ
The boy was apparently called Maibara. He turned around to face me. Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, why is he terrifying in that art style? It's his eyes. Dude, his eyes are... This is creepy in this art style. He looks a lot friendlier in that one. I think friendly Keiichi's best in the console art style. Angry Keiichi's best in the OG art style. Alright. Even the way he mistook me for Mio sounded Satoshi... Like, that's not... sounded like Satoshi-kun. But Satoshi-kun isn't a pervert like him. Yeah! Or if he is, he keeps it private, which is what you should do.
天下御免のミオンがどんな情け容赦のない必殺技で撃退してみせるかちょっと楽しみにして見てたんだぜまあそのさすがに男が3人がかりじゃきつかったってことか
Yeah, I think it is the super detailed eyes. Even then, he looks like... Maybe just the remake art style makes it look more sinister. He looks kind of sinister here. Same here. Actually, no, it's the eyebrows. The eyebrows kind of make him look a little sinister in all of them. But he looks most good-natured in this one.
そんなわけないよな
I was still confused. I couldn't yet grasp the situation. Who was this guy? Mion has friends like him? Well, when you only have, like, 2 other people in your grade at your one school, you kind of have to be friends with everyone. I was still spacing out in shock. So, I forgot to move until his hand touched my head. No.
まあその
Why are you doing that?
半べそ書いてたのは見なかったことにするからさそのまあ元気出せ
Is
よ
that really all it's gonna take to make her obsessed? Rub, rub. The boy called my bar stroked my head roughly. It didn't feel good. It hurt, actually. Oh, he's giving us a noogie. But still, his hand had the same warmth. It's just called being a human that has not terrible circulation. Later on, Mion told me about him. He was called Keiichi Maebara. Kei-chan for short. He's 1 grade below us. Not only that, but he just moved to Hinamizawa. Thanks to his attitude and lack of manners, he'd already become an idol in their class. Why? Mion joyously explained all this. Sure, he sounded like a fun kid. I knew why Mion was into him. But Satoshi-kun is way cooler. I actually agree. He wasn't worth stealing from sis. Or was he? My heart throbbed. I was excited. It felt like I'd gotten a new toy. Oh, gross! Gross! Everyone sucks in this game except Rika. And Akasaka. And Tomatake. Those are the three winners. I was curious as to what kind of relationship Mion intended to build with him. I'd love to tease her about it.
ありがとう、ケイちゃん。よかったらお礼にお茶でもおごるよ。
Wait, did you learn about that, like, telepathically?
すぐ近くにおじさんの店があるし、どう？
Are we going to Hooters? We better not be going to Hooters. Satoshi-kun would refuse out of modesty. But Keiichi Maibara said, okay, within 2 seconds. Yeah, he's a dude. He knows the value of free food. Well then, I couldn't wait to tease the two of them. My boring life suddenly became bright again.
おい、腕なんかにしがみつくなよ。
あれ？こういうの嫌いですか？
Shion, you suck.
いや、嫌いじゃないけど、胸が当たって、
Why are you in any way uncomfortable with that after your giant monologue you just gave?
胸が当たって何ですって？
Keiichi Maibara was fun. Mion fought the same way I did. She would always talk about him. I was happy for her. It made me smile.
お姉はケイちゃんのこと本当に気に入ってますね。
Well, it's like Keiichi and Rena are the only classmates around her age. Rena's great, but she's a girl, and also she's insane. Keiichi is a boy, but he's also insane, just in a different way.
ズバリケイちゃんの魅力を一言で示すと何です？そうだね。もしも一言でしか言っちゃいけないなら、やっぱり面白いとこかな。そうそう、この間の部活の時にさ。
In the club. Mion really liked him, but didn't seem to think it was love yet. She's reserved in that area, so that was really like her. As for me, well, I didn't hate him, but my feelings were not the same as Mion's. Kei-chan was just too childish compared to Satoshi-kun. I wondered how Satoshi-kun was doing. Was he waiting for things to cool down somewhere far away? The case had already been solved, though. That dopehead was the murderer. I don't think the dopey guy... I don't think Dopey would have done it. Dopey may not talk much, but he's a sweet dwarf. There was no reason for him to wait anymore. I shook my head. I shouldn't think about it too much. Something bad happened. It's interesting, despite how much Shion liked Satoshi, she wasn't this sexual, but with Keiichi, she's already like this, but it's just to tease Mion. Yeah, that's weird. It's almost like Shion is kind of nuts. Oh wait, I know. The case was confidential, so the arrest of the culprit hadn't been made public. So Satoshi-kun hadn't realized that he could come back. I know he's a little thick-headed. Maybe he'd be waiting for things to calm down until the end of time. But if so, couldn't he give a call to Satoko at least? He should tell her he's living in a faraway place. But that he'd be coming home soon. Ah, that stupid Satoko. She'd been living with Rika Furude since Satoshi-kun went away. So nobody would pick up the phone even if he called. Stupid girl. Oh, don't go victim blaming again. Don't you want your big brother to come home? Given Satoshi-kun's personality, he wouldn't remember any phone numbers other than his home number. So he wouldn't be able to contact anybody in Hinamizawa. Maybe he's been calling Satoko every night. He keeps ringing, but nobody picks up. Then he'd assume Satoko might be taking a bath or be in the restroom. Every night. He'd put on a puzzled smile while mumbling, ugh, like always. Denial's a part of grieving, indeed. I imitated his voice without realizing it.
それでえ、何？何？どうしたの？今シオン何か言わなかった？
I laughed it off and urged Mion to continue. I realized that her tone had changed. I hadn't been listening to her because I was thinking about Satoshi-kun. I thought she would still be happily talking about Kei-chan, but Mion sounded grim now. Her faint smile looked pitiful. It was too late to ask what was going on. So instead I concentrated on her story instead.
でね、おじさんが 今日は盛り上げてくれてありがとうって言って
Oh, wait.
売り物のお人形をみんなに
This
一個ずつ
did
配った
happen
の
in chapter 2. So we're getting some things in chapter 2 that are the same and some that are different.
私以外の全員に
Oh.
うんお姉以外の全員にねそりゃあ私も欲しかったけどさみんなの手前私にもちょうだいとは言い出せなかったし
You didn't sound like you wanted one.
相変わらずお姉は自分の欲しいものを欲しいと言えない人ですねそれで
Mion sniffled. I realized that she was on the verge of tears. Oh no.
ケイちゃんの袋にはね
Oh,
一番可愛
that's
いお人
right.
形が入ってて
I remember that thumbnail. The thumbnail where he gave it to Rena and she was like, oh my gosh! And Mion kind of looked sad in the back. I guess maybe it hurt her a lot more than we thought.
そのお人形が一番欲しかったってわけ別に何のお人形だってよかったんだよケイちゃんは私だけもらってないって知ってたのに
Oh.
私にくれなかった私にくれなかった
Okay, I don't want to be that guy, Mion, but maybe the reason that he didn't give it to you is because instead of being like, hey, I'd like that, could I have it? You were like, ha, Cage, you got a doll, what a girl. That might have had something to do with it, you know?
ミオンには似合わないよなって言って次に生まれてくるときは
You... Okay,
男に生まれて
you know, Mion, this would be a little sadder if you didn't
言われたんだよ
You're trying to make me feel sad for you, but you constantly refer to yourself as this old man. So I don't really get why you're upset that people kind of treat you like that in a joking way.
言われたんだよ
I mean, yeah, but I get it. It's sad. But also, she probably could act in a slightly different way that would make people not treat her this way. That was Keiichi's weak point. He might be fun and popular, but he wasn't mature. Not like Satoshi-kun.
やり直したい
Keiichi compares her to a boy frequently because she acts like a boy a lot of the time and openly boasts that she's like, yeah, I'm an old man. I basically should have been a boy. So, which came first? The first one, because she was referring to herself as an old man before Keiichi even moved here. So, bit of a problem.
ケイちゃんに出会った最初の頃からやり直して今度はちゃんと女の子だと思ってもらえるようにやり直したい
I got it. I know what's gonna happen. Shion is gonna be like, well, hey, you should pretend to be me. And that's how, that's gonna be KK starting him meeting Shion in chapter 2, but it's actually going to be Mion. And that's gonna lead to a lot of this weird stuff. I think that's what's gonna happen.
おねえ深刻すぎですってお姉がやり直したいと思ってしかも向こうが何もトラブってない状態なら全然セーフじゃないですか互いに傷つき合ってただれちゃうとまあやり直しも面倒でしょうがやり直せるかなケイちゃんの前で涙を流してないならそもそも何も手遅れじゃないんですお姉がこの場で適当に涙して明日から心を入れ替えていけば修正可能ですって
So this does feel like it's leading towards chapter 2, but it can't lead to chapter 2 because he met Shion in a different way than he did in chapter 2. In chapter 2, he met Shion when she defended him from the street gang, not the other way around.
そりゃケイちゃんのデリカシーのなさには呆れますけどその結果は結局今日までのお姉の積み重ねてきた結果なわけですから今日からの生活を少しずつ改めてポイントを稼ぎ直せばいいだけのことです生活を改めるってどうやってお姉に可愛らしくしろって言うと明日からフリフリの格好で登校しかねませんからね変に構えないで普段通りに行きましょうでも細かい部分でこれまでの違いを見せていく
It seems like conflicting advice there, Shion.
そこがさりげないポイントあと人形をもらったレナという子には釘を刺しておくこと
Rena has the girl next door advantage.
現在のケイちゃんの中ではお姉よりもレナの方が高ポイントの
Very
可能
blunt
性
there,
が高い
Shion.
です確かに レナは女の子っぽいしな。
Rena's really sweet when she takes her meds, but she's completely insane when she doesn't.
可愛いし海外しいし、ライバルがいるならうかうかできませんよおね。涙は男を引き寄せる力がありますけど、つなぎ止めておく力はありません。普段は笑っててポイントで泣く。萌えの典型パターンの一つかもです。私もケイちゃんに実践してみるかな。
Okay, Shion, if you really want to be supportive as a sister, please don't troll your sister.
ダメだよ、ダメ。
Hold up. Oh, wait, never. I'm like, have we ever seen this before? We've seen that expression before, just not in the console art style. Don't do that!
お姉が気に入る男の子ですからね。私が気に入らない道理はありませんから。
No, you don't! Don't lie! Don't be such a butt!
さーて、ケイちゃんをどう引き込んでみせようかな。
You genuinely believe Rena does not want a boyfriend anytime soon? Guess we don't know. We haven't seen anything from Rena's perspective. It seems like Rena might be going through some stuff.
なんならお姉、どっちがケイちゃんの気を引けるか競争しましょうか。
No! Psycho!
やだ、もう絶対やだ。シオン、ひなみ沢に来たら追い返す。
I'm happy for you, sis. It's not too late at all. It's important to know the distance between the boy you love and yourself, and shift the way you appeal to him to compensate. That's what Greece taught us. Just change everything about yourself. The boy I love is missing, you know? I don't even know where he is, or when he's coming back. Compared to that, you're very lucky. Mion was saying she'd do her best from tomorrow on with red, tearful eyes, but I sensed a deeply negative feeling emerging inside me. Nobody was blaming Mion for being happy with Keiichi. I wasn't envious. I wasn't jealous. I didn't want her to be blamed the same way I was blamed. It was just that there was no space for Satoshi-kun in Mion's mind anymore. Filled as it was with Kei-chan and her other friends now. It didn't matter to her if Satoshi-kun came back, or not. Just like how she didn't care if it was sunny or rainy tomorrow. This is the kind of normal trouble you'd expect of these characters, but instead they're Yakuza family twins who are treated differently. Yeah, that's true. With her meltdown going back and forth between medicated and nutsy, she's not in the right place. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more going on with Rena behind the scenes, I think. But man, when she's on her meds and normal, she's one of my favorite characters. And when she's off her meds, she's also one of my favorite characters, but just for a very different reason. Had I been thinking about Satoshi-kun all this time for the past year, I wasn't proud of my own answer. I'd become used to life without Satoshi-kun. His absence didn't hurt me anymore. I was getting used to life with Keiichi Maebara. You knew him for one day, and he was really weird. And if I let my guard down, he might just fill up the space I'd been saving for Satoshi-kun. If Shion Sonozaki had prayed harder for Satoshi-kun to return, he might have come home already. Where did Satoshi-kun go? Last year, right after his disappearance, I paid close attention to the information circulating in the Sonozaki family and its underground connections, and I frequently went to the police station to check with Uisi for new information. Even with all of that, I couldn't get any leads on his whereabouts. I eventually became interested in Oyashiro-sama's curse, which surrounded Satoshi-kun's disappearance. I researched the dark history of the village. The more I looked into it, the less likely his survival seemed. I'd returned Mio-san's scrapbooks to her. And then, I hadn't gone to the library since. I started a new life in a new school. I'd made new friends. And in the same way, as falling leaves cover the ground, I felt like I was losing sight of what was really important to me. Shio, you knew Satoshi for like a day. Well, no, like 2 weeks. It was already almost the end of spring. They said that the summer was coming early and it'd be very hot this year. Normally it'd be the rainy season now, but we'd had no rain at all. The Watanagashi festival was right around the corner. It had been almost a year since Satoshi-kun went missing. In Hinamizawa, they don't allow you to talk openly about Oyashiro-sama's curse or the series of mysterious deaths. So everybody acts like the murder of Satoshi-kun's aunt never happened. That's because Satoshi Hojo-kun was a member of the family of traitors. He fell victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse on the 4th year running. He was demoned away. Everybody was trying to forget about his existence and erase their memories of him. Don't make him disappear because of the curse. Don't erase his existence. Satoshi-kun was living in Hinamizawa just a year ago. He went to school. He was an A student. He was a member of the Hinamizawa Fighters. He could never hit the ball when it really mattered. He was unreliable, but pure. He was warm. Because of the curse, people made him disappear. They stopped mentioning his name and acted like he never existed. She doesn't have to forget, she just needs to move on. Yes, Shirley, yes. Exactly. She's living in the past. A new resident like Keiichi Maebara wouldn't even know him. He seriously believed that Satoshi-kun had transferred out. I miss you, Satoshi-kun. I want to go shopping with you again. You did that once. I want to be in a baseball game with you again and get a cold drink afterwards. I want to tease you and I want you to stroke my head again. Your hand was so warm. It felt as if my whole body was being caressed. Satoshi-kun. I haven't opened this notebook in a while. My feelings have been written down for over 150 pages. This notebook is the key to my heart. The other me who's been sleeping since last year is slowly waking up. Are you referring to the demon within you? I don't like where that's going. To be continued. Now? Shio needs friends. She said she had friends. Oh, hey.
まったくケイチさんのドスケベぶりには呆れましてよ。
Hey, girls. Haha. Oh, yeah. Oh, they look derpy. I like Rena in the OG art style. Rika, for some reason, I don't like when she's wearing this dress in the OG art style. And Satoko just looks like little weird, very blocky fists. Honestly, I like console here. Let's go.
男の子なら仕方がないのですよ。みーちゃんもしーちゃんもケイチくん困ってるよ。
What is going on here? Oh.
ですってよ、お姉。
Wait, huh? I don't remember this scene.
大岡越前じゃあるまいし、このままケイちゃんが引きちぎれるまで引っ張りっこします。引っ張りっこなんかしてないよ。シオンが引っ張らなければ済むことでしょ。
What is going on here? Glad to see you, normal Satoko. Yeah, when she's not traumatized, it's great. Ah! What are you doing? And Keiichi's like, I'm done with life. And then over here, Keiichi's like in pain, and Mion's like, don't make me use my gun. I have a gun here. Oh man, it's kind of weird how, like, yeah, you can definitely tell they're the same characters, but they look so different. Oh man, I definitely, when I started Higurashi, I was full remake art style, but now I feel like I might like the console version better. It really just depends on the sprites.
シオンは沖宮に帰れ。はい了解。そうしますね。パッと。
I like how Keiichi suddenly, so he and Sis flew off like a rubber band. Keiichi rolled on the ground while Sis was stuck in a bush head first. What a lively people.
じゃあケイちゃん、これ以上からかうとお姉に噛みつかれかねないので、今日はこれで帰りますね。
This did not happen in chapter 2.
あ、シオン。そのさ、今日はありがとな。
But there's a couple of characters that I really like in the remake art style. Uisi is by far the most important one, along with Toмотake and Coach.
ああ、あんなのお安いご用です。あの程度で恩が着せられるならいくらでもってくらいに。
Also,
じゃあまたな。
Rena, when
シオン
she's going crazy, is way better in the remake art style. She's terrifying there. Whereas in the console art style, she looks like she's hypnotized, but in the remake, she looks psychotic. His hand landed on my head. Rub, rub, rub. He stroked my head pretty roughly, but the warmth reminded me. You've got a problem, Shio.
じゃあすみませんね。今日は失礼します。またね、お姉。二度と来るなー。レナは紹介。サトコはトラ。リカちゃんは塩巻いて。
All right then. The warmth remained on my top of my head. It felt ticklish and sore. I had to stop. I got off my moped and pushed the aching spot against the telephone pole. You have a moped? You're turning into Kyo now. I'm sorry, Satoshi-kun. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I never forgot about you. I still remember you. I'm worthless without you. I can't stand life without you because it's gray and cold and boring. It's true. It's true. I can never smile because you aren't here. I can't.
じゃあまたな、シオン。
Keiichi's face appeared in my mind. I recalled the touch of his hand stroking my head. It wasn't warm. It wasn't I wasn't happy. It was rough and painful. I hate that insensitive guy. He's too childish, rude, and cold. He's like a stray dog. I wasn't happy. It wasn't warm. I wasn't happy or overjoyed at all. Oh, bro. Yikes. Yikes. We're watching a mental breakdown in real time. Satoshi-kun mumbled. He didn't know what to say in a situation like this. Are you hallucinating him right now? But he knew that he had better say something. He wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. So he just mumbled. I'm sorry, Shion. Why are you apologizing, Satoshi-kun? I'm the one who should apologize. Even though I said I'd wait for you. Even though I believed my heart wouldn't change. My heart is full of holes. You're leaking out from the small cracks in my heart, little by little. You're leaking out from me. Are you suffering because I'm here? Why? You're so precious to me. So don't say that. I've been here with you all this time. But I think I'm hurting you by continuing to exist. I don't want that. That's not true. No, no, no! Where have you been, Satoshi-kun? You weren't with me. Tell me where you are. What's the address? What's the postal code? What's the name of the city? What's the street number? Tell me! There isn't an address. I knew it. Telling me you're always with me, always by my side. That's such a cliche. Which do you prefer, Shion? If I can give you strength, I'll stay by your side forever. But if you're suffering because of me, I'll disappear right away.
そんなこと
She's
言わないでよ
nuts!
一緒がいい一緒がいいよ
We couldn't see the gradual transition from Shion being somewhat normal to going completely nuts. It was just like, nope, now she's nuts.
サトシ君といつまでも一緒がいい
Okay, I'll stay with you then. A car passed by. The noise snapped me out of my reverie. The sky was turning orange. I should get home before it gets cold. I should go home to Okinomiya. You're with me, right? Are you with me right now, Satoshi-kun? I walked back to my moped. My feet sank into the grass. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I stopped when I reached my bike. But then I heard an extra footstep. I gasped. I could feel somebody else's presence. It's happening again! I'm not stupid. Nobody else was around here. So nobody had suddenly appeared behind me. So I wasn't surprised to find nobody when I turned around. But he was definitely still there.
サトシ君
It's the curse. I couldn't see him, but he was there. Oh. Ooh, I like the music. He was there for me. Satoshi-kun never lies. He said he'd be with me all the time. I'd just been too insensitive to feel his existence until now. Did he say that? I don't remember him saying that.
サトシ君サトシ君
If there's one thing I have learned, it's that hearing extra footsteps or hearing things nobody else can hear is a sign that you're getting reptile eyes and going insane. That breeze tickled my hair. It felt cold, but to me it was nothing but the warmth of his hand. It took me a while to notice that my cheeks were wet with tears. Higurashi when they cry. You would believe this level of grief from somebody who you loved for a long time. Yes. But Satoshi, for most of the story, didn't even know Shion existed. Yeah, and she also didn't know he existed, except for like 2 weeks. It seems like a lot. I was too scared to sleep. If I went to sleep, I might not find Satoshi-kun there in the morning. So I kept talking to him until I passed out. I told him about what happened while he was missing. I told him that I realized how much I loved him after he went away. I'd searched for him, looking into various different things. I'd gathered underground information for Kasai and bargained for police information with Uisi. But I couldn't find any leads. A long time passed, but I kept thinking about him. Fair enough, Ruben. Yeah, Shion's upbringing does make it realistic that she'd latch on to somebody who showed her affection, but it still seemed very sudden. etc., etc. I told him all the small details for my daily life. The places I wanted to go with him. The things I wanted to do with him. The food I wanted to share with him. And I told him a lot of things. I was sitting up at first, but I got tired, so I lay down. I got tired of moving my mouth too, so I started talking to him in my mind. It was the happiest night I'd ever had. Yeah, Shion needs help. Almost every character in this story needs help. When I woke up, I didn't find Satoshi-kun by my side. I knew it somehow. I was afraid of it. That was why I didn't want to go to sleep. But at least I got to see him for one night. No, you didn't, crazy person. Just when I'd resigned myself to that, I felt Satoshi-kun's presence again. It wasn't a dream after all. I thanked God. And so I began my strange life with Satoshi-kun. Jeez. As promised, Satoshi-kun was always by my side. He couldn't laugh, mumble, or stroke my head. But he was always with me. Always right by my side. He disappeared sometimes, but he'd come back when I looked for him. It seemed that all I could hear was his footsteps. Yeah! You also heard that in the torture room, and so did Tomatake, so there's some... I have no idea what's going on with that, why they're hearing extra things when they were going crazy, but this is weird. That's just the way it was. It was a bit sad, but I was still satisfied. His presence was really faint, so it was hard to sense him in a crowd. Shame it's the 80s, so mental health probably wouldn't be accepted. Yeah, well, back in the day, therapy wasn't really a thing, and nowadays therapy is overblown. So, do you want one extreme or the other? But he never left me. If he were tangible, I'd be taking his hands all the time so that he wouldn't be lost. In contrast, I could feel him very strongly in a quiet environment. Of course, I couldn't tell what his expressions were, because he was just a presence. Rena also said something about footsteps. Yeah, exactly. But after I got used to it, I could tell what he was thinking. At first, I could only tell if he was laughing or not. Eventually, I started to feel his emotions more strongly. I could communicate with him normally. I was usually alone with him, though. I didn't want to go to school or hang out with my friends anymore. But Satoshi-kun got upset about that. He'd keep mumbling unhappily. Now that I knew he'd always be with me, I shouldn't just stay home all the time. I was sticking to my time alone with him, however, because I was scared that he might suddenly disappear again, and I wanted to make the most of the time I was sharing with him right now. I must have been worrying too excessively. Satoshi-kun will always be by my side. Yeah, that was his promise. He never breaks his promises. I was fine because he was there. Of course, I couldn't tell anybody about him, not even Sis. I could try to explain it to them, but they'd never understand. Isolation. But I was certain. Certain that he was with me. So, I'd be alright. I never got fed up with my life with him. He's really cute, you know. We always walk together. But when I stop, he always walks one extra step. That's so adorable. I love it. Jeez, she's crazy. Speaking of which, he looks terrible in the console art style. That's right. The adult characters, by and large, tend to look better in the console art style. Or the remake art style, my bad.
行って適当に遊ぶつもりです。お姉とその愉快な仲間たちでもからかうか
You
な。
gotta find better uses for your time than with your literal imaginary boyfriend and just teasing your sister. I wanted to go to the festival of Satoshi-kun. Too bad he's not here! There's so many jokes I could make, but you know what? I'll just refrain. I knew he liked to see me having fun with everybody. He might get jealous if I play with Kei-chan. But Satoshi-kun isn't very sensitive in that way. Satoshi-kun loved to see me and my friends have fun. So, I should have a lot of fun for his sake. Why would Satoshi-kun be with Shion instead of his sister if, for argument's sake, he was a spiritual presence? Well, surely, obviously, because he cares way more about the girl he knew for 2 weeks and actually thought it was somebody else rather than his little sister. Duh. I'd talk about the date with him later.
何でひなみ沢に行きますか? 車で行くならお送りしますよ。
スクーターで行くからいいや。
それはいけま
He's
せ
like,
ん。
I want to go to the festival too!
帰りに本家に寄られて親類の宴会に加わられるんでしょ。居眠り運転などさせられません。
Did you just assume I'm going to drink to inebriation? He won't let me drive, but he's kind enough to let me drink.
じゃ、お世話になりますか
I
ね。
feel like you got those mixed up, buddy. She's old enough to drive, she's not old enough to drink.
わかりました。では夕方に出発しましょう。そのくらいの頃にお迎えに参ります。
After Kasai left, I sensed that Satoshi-kun was excited about going to the festival.
綿流しか。サトシくんがいなくなっちゃってから、もうすぐ1年になるんだね。
Satoshi-kun seemed confused.
ムー。でしょ？
Does Kasai know about your, situation, Shion? We laughed together. No, gosh, man, you're crazy. Absolutely crazy.
いらっしゃい。
Yeah!
はいよ、網とお椀。
よし、やるぞ。金魚はみんな生きがいいね。実に美味しそう。この小さいのなんか、そのままボリボリと生でいけちゃうよね。
Huh?
ミオンさんは何を言ってるんでございますの？みーちゃん、食べてたの？
That's a little odd.
去年レナからもらったのも食べちゃったの？
Sorry, Rena, we didn't want to break it to you this way.
違う。私そんなこと言ってない。
Sis shook her head hard. She turned all red.
いやでも今実に美味しそうだって。
Ventriloquist!
確かに言いました。お姉って雑食ですから、口に入れば何でも食べちゃうんです。
美味しいなら今度僕も試してみるのです。
Hey, Rika.
ダメだよリカちゃん、お腹壊しちゃうよ。
Don't be crazy.
ちょっと待て。おいこら、お前いつの間にいるんだよ。シオン。
はーい、ケイちゃんにお姉にみんな、こんばんは。
You're not supposed to be here!
あんたどこから湧いてきたの、シオン。焼きそば屋さんの時からずっとです。お姉たちは騒がしいからすぐに
Oh,
見つけられました。
Xiaomain, let's go.
もうあんたは関係ないでしょ。早くどっか行きなさいよ。
No.
もうお姉もあまり私を邪険にしないでくださいね。ケイちゃん、私が一緒でもいいですよね。
I took Kei-chan's arm and held it between my breasts. You're being weird. This is very odd, especially since you already have an imaginary boyfriend, and you know how much Mion likes him. Also, this is a family game. Ignore the fact that it's rated M for mature and has tons of violence and exceptionally dark stuff in it. We were going to have a ball. Yeah, deserved. Rika looks so depressed that Mion punched us. I went around the booths with Sis and her friends. I joked around and laughed out loud. I didn't sense. I teased Kei-chan and Sis too. Kei-chan was at the center of the group, so if I did something to him, it naturally involved everybody else. It looked like Satoshi-kun was having a hard time finding his own spot in the crowd. You are... What? Ah! When I glanced around at him in a quiet moment, he smiled and told me to have fun without worrying about him. If he were tangible, I'd pull his arm to join the crowd. It made me sad that I couldn't do that. I bumped into somebody's shoulder. It was obviously my fault, so I apologized right away. As it turned out, it was somebody I knew. Takano? Hey! Best boys here. Let's go. Still ripped as always. Hey, buddy, watch out for your girlfriend tonight. She is definitely gonna try to murder you.
楽しんでるみたいね。こんばんは、シオンちゃん。月の綺麗な晩ね。
The moon does look lovely tonight.
あれ、すごいお久しぶりですね、高野さん。それから。
そうだね。挨拶、僕は富武。
Tobutake.
ミオンちゃんの双子の妹さんだって話は聞いてるよ。
よろしくです、富武さん。凄腕のカメラマンとのお噂だとか。ぜひ今度私も映してくださいね。
デビューを夢見て投稿を繰り返す素人だけど
Well,
ね
you're not an amateur at the gym. My gosh.
そんなことないわよ。二郎さんは上手よ。いろいろとね。
いやいや、まだまだ勉強が足りないよ。才能に恵まれない分を努力で補わないとね。
Ooh. They must have been in a relationship.
高野さんと富武さん、仲がよろしいようで。私はお邪魔ですかね。
あらあら、ご検察痛み入るけど、お気遣いは結構よ。それに高野なんて、なんだか他人行儀みたいな呼び方ね。
Did we ever return her notebooks?
昔みたいに。
Just realized.
って呼んでくれていい
She
の
let us borrow them, but then we didn't meet her again. Do we still have them?
やっぱり目上の人にファーストネーム呼びつけはちょっと気になるものでして。
I get that. Like, the moms that I knew when I was a kid, like growing up, like, even though I'm like almost 30 now, if I meet them, I'm still calling them like Mrs. So-and-so rather than their first name. That's just weird to me. But if I meet a new person who's like way older than me, I would still call them by their first name.
まあその
It's just a matter of
気に
habit.
しないでください。
I smiled bashfully, and Takano-san smiled back elegantly. Oh, okay, Shion did return them. Okay. I'm just dumb.
あれから図書館には来ないのね。
That's because I don't live here.
研究の同志としてもっともっといろいろお話ししたかったのに。
まあ気が向いたらそのうちってことで。
研究の同志ってまさかしおんちゃんも興味があるのかい？そのこの村の昔話とかに。
Tomotage-san raised his eyebrows. As far as I knew, Takano-san's hobby wasn't exactly normal. On the surface, her research dealt with the cultural history of ancient Hinamizawa, but its main focus was the Watanagashi festival from ancient times, the cannibal banquet in which they captured and gutted a living sacrifice. Her research covered various stories surrounding that, and other legends of cruelty. It was nothing if not gory. That was where her main interests lay. So I didn't feel comfortable being called a fellow researcher, to be honest. But objectively speaking, her research notes were fun to read. It was then that I heard the loud booms of the taiko drums. The main event of the Watanagashi festival, the dedication dance, was about to start. According to Takano-san's hypothesis, the part of the dance where the shrine maiden tears open a futon mat represents gutting a living victim.
いよいよ始まりますね。そろそろ私も行くかな。
So,
高野さんたちも見に行くんですよね。リカちゃまの儀式。
interesting. So Shion refers to her as Rika Chama, not Rika Sama, which a lot of the other, or Rika Chan. Huh. Interesting.
Hmm?
Is that like a hybrid of the two?
うん。
Takano, did you rope somebody into your obsessions? No, she legitimately found one person just doing a lot of research. Are we gonna get told about the curse again? Probably. Tomotage-san looked bewildered. Did that mean he wasn't coming? Takano-san giggled, then whispered into my ear.
実はね、これから最後殿の中に入ってみ
This
よ
is
う
what
と
they
思う
did in
の。
Chapter 2.
え？
She made it sound like she was going to do something fun, but it wouldn't be amusing to anyone who knew what the ritual storehouse was. The ritual storehouse, or the storehouse for ritual implements, is a sort of treasure house belonging to the Furude Shrine. I heard that the Oyashiro-sama's sacred treasures were stored in there. Only people from the Furude family and selected members of the other two free families were allowed to enter. Kind of, it's a diminutive version of Sama, so it's respectful and cute at the same time. Okay, so it is kind of a hybrid. They believe that if other people enter, the place will be desecrated. Everybody in Hinamizawa must have been curious about what was in there when they were kids. But the storehouse was always tightly locked. You couldn't just peek into it either. Kids would get chided if they played around it, so they'd learn to stay away. I didn't like being around it myself, since I was familiar with all that. Even though I didn't believe in curses, I still didn't want to be near it. You saw a frog in the background? Congratulations. Nothing good can come from breaking the rules. Were they still going to enter the ritual storehouse despite all that?
でも確かものすごい厳重な鍵がかかってたと思いましたよ。
去年まではね、前の缶抜きじゃ重すぎて大変だとリカちゃんが言ったらしいの。
Why would she do that, by the way?
それで今年からものすごく安っぽい南京錠に変わったの。
Why was it just last year? I guess that was the first year she had to open it when her parents were gone.
知ってた？
Whoops.
い
I think
い
we
え
knew that.
知りません。でも安っぽいと言ったって 錠前がかかってますよ。
二郎さんね、とても器用なの。
Is that why you're dating him just because he's a locksmith?
ピッキングですか？
Also, don't look so sinister here, Takano. Come on.
綿流しの儀式が始まれば全員が儀式に集まるでしょ。西宮殿の周りには人影は
Look
全
at
く
the frog. Yeah, I see the frog there. I thought you meant a frog on the ritual shrine scene.
今夜が一番の資格なの。
Personally, I definitely want to win Gun 3 or the tank. It's incredible that they both have those as prizes. Hey, wait a second. They have a gun as a prize, but why did they have to censor Mion's gun? Ooh.
東大元暮らしとでも言うのかしらね。
According to her hypothesis, the ancient tools used for human dissection and torture would be found in the ritual storehouse.
よかったら後でこっそりいらっしゃいな。二度とないチャンスよ。じゃあよかったら後でね。
高野さん、何の内緒話だい？
女同士の内緒話よ。
Uh-huh.
行きましょう。暗くて人気のないところへ。
Did she tell him, hey, let's break into the ritual storehouse and make out? It'll be hot? Is that why he's willing to do it? No. Takano-san walked against the flow of the crowd alongside Tomotage-san. The ritual storehouse, huh? It was supposedly filled with torture tools. Considering what they had in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki house, that's quite possible. Satoshi-kun fell victim to the curse in the 4th year. His aunt's death was the sign of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Satoshi-kun was the sacrifice to pacify Oyashiro-sama's anger. That's what Takano-san said last year. It was just her hypothesis. It should have been me, not him! At present, I wanted to deny her hypothesis because I wanted to believe that Satoshi-kun was still alive. If her hypothesis was correct, either some religious fanatic or somebody from the Free Families must be imitating the curse in order to revive the ancient custom of Onigafuchi. That would mean that it was them who killed Satoshi-kun. So what if? What if the ritual storehouse was filled with garbage instead of torture implements? Maybe it was filled with broken palanquins or freshly painted signposts for the festival. What then? It wasn't really hard for me to believe that it was filled with the chemical smell of paint. Maybe I'll get to deny the hypothesis that Satoshi-kun was sacrificed by seeing the inside of the ritual storehouse for myself. Whatever was in there, it didn't mean that Satoshi-kun would come back.
サトシ君、どうしよう。
Since most people went to see Rikachama's ritual dance, the festival grounds were deadly quiet. Even so, I couldn't sense Satoshi-kun. You could just take gun number 3. Did he go somewhere, or was I not paying enough attention? Or maybe he wasn't feeling any emotions in particular. After thinking for a while, I decided to go in with him. It had been almost a year since Satoshi-kun's disappearance. I've been avoiding the truth because I was afraid he might be dead. I was gonna make a joke about Shion being a third wheel here, but considering what happens to Tomataki tonight, maybe it's good if she does go with him. But now I had a chance. I had a chance to see the inside of the ritual storehouse. I felt as though something divine had arranged that coincidence. You didn't care about this at all until she mentioned it. On the way to the storehouse, I noticed Keiichi. He was jumping up and down, trying to see Rikachama's dedication dance over people's shoulders. If I took him along, we could split the guilt. Oyashiro-sama might put a curse on me for entering his divine storehouse. I wanted a partner in crime. Since the boy I loved disappeared last year because of the curse, maybe Mion's love should disappear this year. Bro, that's why you did it?! You are the worst!
何考えてんだ私。
That must have been the demon inside me. I shook the thought out of my head.
どうしたんだよ、シオン。
Hey bro, what's up? Hey, you're looking pretty smug there. Let's go OG Keiichi.
それより奉納演舞がよく見えるとこってまだ遠いのか？
え？奉納演舞がよく見えるなんて誰が言いました？
We made it to the ritual storehouse. Keiichi was baffled by the whole situation. Our timing had been perfect. I could see Tomatake-san picking the lock. She is, isn't she, Shirley? She is a female dog. Even though Keiichi must have been curious, he insisted that we shouldn't go in. But I talked him into it anyway. He was quick to change his mind when Tomatake-san joined in. That's because he seems like he has a head on his shoulder. It was completely dark inside, so Takano-san lit a battery-powered lantern. A small entry space appeared before us.
真っ暗だね。 みんな転ばないように気をつけるんだよ。
I think this was the CG upcoming that we first saw Keiichi in the vest. Where the one that had like Takano with holding the lantern with the creepy smile on her face, with Shion and Keiichi kind of freaking out in the background.
ご心配ありがとう。じゃあ門番をよろしくね。ここ閉めるわよ。
Takano-san closed the door with a smile, as if leaving Tomitake-san out on purpose.
やれやれ。じゃあみんなゆっくり楽
I
しんでおい
thought
で。
I thought he went inside with us. Because didn't he comment like he could hear someone jumping up and down in here along with Shion? As soon as the heavy doors closed, we were surrounded by a quiet darkness. All we could rely on was Takano-san's lantern.
大丈夫よ。予備電池も入ってるアウトドア仕様なんだから。消えたりなんかしないわよ。
Takano-san teased Keiichi a little. Keiichi, in turn, looked a little pale. He seemed to be able to recognize the sanctity of the building, even though he wasn't from Hinamizawa.
さあ入りましょう。よいしょ。
After Takano-san opened the heavy inner door, a dusty, foul smell flowed out. It was like the smell of a pantry that hadn't been opened in years and the smell of a fish market mixed together. I didn't know exactly how to describe it, but it was a bad smell. From listening to the echo of our footsteps, I could tell that this room was much bigger than the one we were just in. When Takano-san raised her lantern, I could clearly see just how big it was. At the far side of the wall, there was a statue of some kind of god staring down at us intruders. The way it was lit by the lantern gave it a powerful appearance, and it scared me.
あれがひなみ沢の守り神。お社様よ。
This is weird. It's like a carbon copy of the torture bunker that Shion's family has. I looked up at the statue, which was holding its religious ornaments. Is it that weird guy to her direct left? If Satoshi-kun's disappearance really was a curse, I couldn't forgive this god. I found myself irritated by the way the statue looked down at me. Damn you, Oyashiro-sama! If you really made Satoshi-kun disappear, I'll never forgive you. Never. Keiichi didn't seem to understand the significance of the storehouse. He looked bored. Takano-san noticed that and took out her scrapbooks to show him the brutal history of ancient Hinamizawa. I'd heard that story already, so I decided to walk around by myself. Yay, we don't have to listen to it again. Since I knew the significance of all these tools, I felt a little nauseated. Though they certainly wouldn't jump out at me, I still found them intimidating. Ooh. That baseline. They looked as if they were craving for flesh blood, after not having been used in hundreds of years. All the tools looked similar to the ones I saw in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki main house. If those tools were the progenes of the torture implements, these would be their ancestors. All of the implements looked old. I doubted they could really be used. They weren't kept maintained like the ones at the Sonozaki house. So did that mean that they shouldn't scare me? No, on the contrary. They told me that the cruel rituals were indeed performed in this village at one point. Now that I found scary. What Takano-san told me was the truth. When I stopped, Satoshi-kun also stopped behind me, one step later. I felt no emotional change in Satoshi-kun. I couldn't tell if he was feeling something or not. I knew he was there, but I had no idea how he was feeling. I felt scared of him for the first time. If he could answer me, I'd want to ask him, who demoned you away?
ね、サトシ君。聞いてる？
I couldn't tell if he heard me or not. He left as if he didn't hear anything. I could tell that he'd been sulky ever since we got here. I suddenly felt lonely, so I looked for him while walking around. I realized that there was an altar in front of the statue. He might be there. It was a clean altar. An altar ornamented with religious artifacts. It was kept well maintained. I saw no dust. That would mean, well, the flowers in this vase weren't wilting. I saw a pretty handkerchief under the vase. It looked out of place among anything else. I was fairly certain it was Rika Furide's handkerchief. That would mean that this storehouse is maintained daily. It wasn't a forgotten ruin buried in dust. So, the brutality that dwelled in this ritual storehouse is still alive and well in Hinamizawa. That's right. Something as ambiguous as Oyashiro-sama's curse is nothing more than a simple delusion of the villagers. As Takano-san said, everything that happens in this world is done by humans. I had accused Oyashiro-sama of demoning away Satoshi-kun. But Oyashiro-sama is just a statue made of bronze or wood. It's nothing but an icon. There are, however, human beings who would try to make that icon seem real. This series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa is the result of human action. It shouldn't be called Oyashiro-sama's curse. If Satoshi-kun was the fourth year's victim, then he was victimized by a human who is just acting the part of the curse. The person who demoned away Satoshi-kun must not be very far from me. The truth behind Satoshi-kun's disappearance was not so far from my grasp. I was startled by the sound. It sounded like somebody had dropped something. I looked over at Takano-san and Keiichi. Oh! Takano, why do you have that face on you? Is this her creepy face? Oh yeah, sure enough it is. Oh, Keiichi looks so sad here, and she's like, yeah, that's right. And then they ate the other people and gobbled up their entrails and drifted them down the river. He's just like, I just wanted to watch Rika dance. Why am I here? Oh, so should I tell you my theories about how they tore out the person's entrails? No! Shio, where are you? Dear Lord. This is crazy. Did she drop her scrapbook or something? Thump. Thump, thump, thump. The sound came from right behind me, not from them. I'd never heard Satoshi-kun do that. It sounded like somebody was stomping on the floor in frustration. Yeah, she mentioned she was hearing stomping, and so did Tomitake. What is it? The sound continued, ignoring my question. Though I heard it right nearby, it sounded as though a child was hopping on a wooden floor somewhere distant.
どうしたのサトシ君。何か怒ってるの
I couldn't read his expression. I thought he must be mad, but I didn't sense any emotion from him at all. Was he mad that I touched the altar? Maybe you weren't supposed to do that. It's not that I had been able to communicate with Satoshi-kun in a concrete way. I just talked to him. I was never expecting him to react like that. I didn't sense a willingness to communicate from this creepy sound. Then a chill ran up my spine. I felt as if all my pores were opening. I'd been thinking that it was Satoshi-kun stomping on the floor. Hey. You. You're Satoshi-kun, aren't you? The sound stopped when I asked that. It wasn't a yes or no. Just silence. Satoshi-kun wouldn't scare me like that. I realized suddenly that the sound hadn't come from Satoshi-kun. A cold shiver shot through my feet, and I sprung a step backward. The sound had come from right there. Even though I jumped back, I was still just a few meters away. Satoshi-kun would sometimes let me hear his footsteps when I walked. But if that wasn't Satoshi-kun, then there was no guarantee I'd hear his footsteps. So, that invisible being could already be right in front of my eyes, and I just wouldn't see it? I forgot everything and ran, straining my ears as much as possible from any sound, listening for any footsteps pursuing me. I ran right into Keiichi and clung to him, timidly turning to look back. The dimly lit area before the altar was quiet, like nothing was happening. But seeing that chilling dark stillness, realizing I was just in that space, made me even more frightened now.
どうしたよ、シオン。ひょっとして怖くなった？
Keiichi made fun of me. Even though he'd looked horrified just a little while ago, he now looked satisfied to see me scared too.
お化け屋敷で女の子がしがみついてくるのはデフォじゃないですか。まんざらでもないくせに。ほらほら、行きましょう。高野さんに置いてかれます。
I pretended to be fine, but I wasn't sure if I would be able to hide my fear entirely. The footsteps were chasing me. They were outside the illumination of the lantern as if they couldn't go into the light. The presence never left us, however. It followed us like a fourth member of the party. Sometimes it made a stomping sound as if wanting some recognition. But neither Takano-san nor Keiichi seemed to notice it. It was possible for Takano to be ignoring it, but Keiichi would never ignore it. Yeah, if he could hear it, he would have said something. So, just like with Satoshi-kun, only I could hear it. What was this thing that was making me so scared? Was it Satoshi-kun in a bad mood? Or was it possible that the presence I believed to be Satoshi-kun might not have been him at all? Epilepsy warning. What are you upset about, Satoshi-kun? Tell me if I did something wrong. I'll apologize. If you aren't Satoshi-kun, then where did he go? When did you take his place? He was never there. Shion.
シオン、大丈夫か？
She is not alright in many ways.
はい、全然平気ですよ。それよりケイちゃんこそ 顔面蒼白でかなりヤバげかと。
ならあまり俺の服を引っ張りすぎないでくれると嬉しいんだけどな。
This is the only orange tank top I own.
あ、こりゃ失礼です。
あらあら、私はお邪魔かしら。
I decided to engage in the conversation to help myself ignore the sound from behind. I didn't hear the sound as much, and it became a bit more distant. Yeah, I shouldn't pay attention to it. It wouldn't bother me if I didn't hear it. I should just ignore the noise.
で、高野さんはその風習が実は現代にも残っているんじゃないかと思って研究をしてるんです。そうでしたよね。
これ本当に内緒なんだからね。しおんちゃんは理解のある人だから話したけど、他の村人には聞かれたくないの。下手をしたら罰当たり者ってことで袋叩き
Are
に
you
されかね
revealing
な
your
んだから。
plan to kill your boyfriend? She smiled at me like a witch.
前原くんも内緒にしてね。知られたら私、お社様のたたりに会うか、生贄にされちゃうかするかもしれ
You're
ない。
saying this to intentionally freak us out because you're going to fake your own death.
たたりなら今年はどんな死に方をさせられちゃうのかしら。生贄なら鬼ヶ淵の沼に生きたまま沈められちゃうのかしら。そういえば今夜よね、お社様のたたりがある夜は。
It certainly is. If the curse strikes for a fifth time, it'll happen tonight. Takano-san pulled out an old scrapbook from her paper bag and started turning the pages. She opened it to the page with that one article. It was the article about the brutal murder of a Watanagashi victim. It happened in the Meiji era.
これは実際にあったお話よ。明治の終わり頃にね、鬼ヶ淵村で身元不明の惨殺死体が発見されたんですって。
It's getting more intense.
かくも無残かつ残虐非道を。
Hey, you guys seriously don't hear that? It's freaking loud. How can you not hear it? Oh, hell, it's freaking noisy. Cut it out already. And the next moment, we all heard a squeaking noise. We turned around in surprise. Oh, yeah, you don't look that great in the console art style. Yeah! Get that muscle definition. It was just Tomatake-san opening the door.
驚かせちゃったかな。
あら、二郎さんも見たくて我慢できなくなったかしら。
Well, because we know she's gonna fake her death to, like, pretend to be part of the curse. So, of course, she isn't bothered by it.
ここ素敵な拷問道具の宝庫
She
よ。
weird, man.
僕は遠慮させてもらうよ。生来ね、こういうのは苦手なんだ。
Takano-san laughed as if making fun of Tomatake-san for being such a scaredy cat.
それより演舞とセレモニーが終わってみんな沢の方に降りていったよ。あと何分もしないうちにお祭りは終わっちゃう。
Time was up. I never expected that Tomatake-san would save me from this nightmare. His face suddenly looked heroic. He is a hero.
ケイチ君も出るかい？
もう十分に見ましたので。シオン、もういいだろ。出ようぜ。綺麗な空気が吸いたいよ。
同感です。出ましょう。
I went into the entry room and turned around. Takano-san was taking photos in a mad rush, though our time was up. I didn't hear that sound anymore. I didn't feel that presence. I didn't feel Satoshi-kun either. But somehow I wasn't too sad about that. Even if he followed me out here, I wouldn't be able to tell if it was really him or somebody else. Is this where we're gonna get the... No, this is where we get the to be continued. I thought Tomatake was gonna be like, oh yeah, I heard that, and it would be, what? And we'd have a monologue, but okay, cool. End of chapter 9, probably. Yes! New tips acquired. Defilers broke into a forbidden place, and we get a hoe as the photo. But not like a hoe as in a person, but as in like someone used to plow the soil. But it looked sinister. Alright, notebook page 172. Oh! Oh yeah, we have seen this before. This underground torture room is officially called the Underground Ritual Storehouse. So do torture room and ritual storehouse mean the same thing? According to Takano-san's theory, bloody rituals, including Watanagashi, have been passed down among the three families even after the Meiji era. The rituals are always ready to be performed. Their form of worship always revolved around torture. So Hinamizawa's history involved a great deal of human slaughter. Takano-san's theory is correct. The underground storehouse of the Sonozaki house looked well maintained. Takano-san is right about that too. Since the Sonozaki family and the Furide family both have ritual storehouses, the Kimiyoshi family must have one too. After all, these ancient and brutal customs are still handed down through the generations. I should remain armed with that knowledge of that occult activities and events are still secretly being performed in this cursed village. The sanctity of the ritual storehouse is one of the most prominent elements in the worship of Oyashiro-sama. Of course, I knew that since I'm originally from Hinamizawa. But violating that sanctity is actually a more serious problem than I thought. Takano-san's research shows that the history of the ritual storehouse goes way back. The ritual implements within have long been viewed as inviolable objects, which is why it was strictly forbidden to enter. Takano-san's theory says that Watanagashi is once a public execution, performed to stabilize the reign of the three families, rather than a purely religious ritual. If so, the ritual should hardly be called sacred. Under those circumstances, the implements should have been despised as symbols of hatred and fear. When instruments of fear are too visible, it only creates a reign of terror. But keep them as hidden as possible and they gain divinity. Many said that they would become tainted if the laymen touched them. The only reason for that was to preserve the false prestige for secrecy, since they would lose their sanctity if it was revealed to before the common folk. In other words, the true identity of the ritual storehouse's sacredness was fear. That was the true emotion ruling over this village. The reason why Takano-san and Tomitake-san were cursed is because they broke into the ritual storehouse. I don't know how the villagers found out about it. Maybe somebody was watching. Maybe there's an anti-theft alarm. Either way, our intrusion must have been reported to the highest level of the curse system. That's because considering the distance between the village and the site where Takano-san's body was found, she must have been killed right after we came out of the ritual storehouse. It was done very quickly. It's possible that the special assassination team exists for this purpose, or that the plan had been set up a long time ago. They might have been secret agents of the Sonozaki family, but the latter sounds more valid. Or secret agents but the latter sounds more valid? Yeah, okay. But if so, who would have been the victim if nobody broke into the ritual storehouse? Fair point. Alright, well, I was going to try to go through to the end of chapter 10. That did not happen, because those were long chapters. Normally the chapters are only about an hour each, but these were like an hour and a half today. So, we're going to have to end the stream there, and we will be continuing this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, tune in for that. Should be fairly interesting. We are now more than halfway through the chapter, officially. So, thanks for tuning in and chatting, everybody. This has been fun, as always. Wish you all a great rest of your night, and God bless everybody.